Welcome to the back on ESPN. It is a spectacular day here in the Pioneer Valley. We are at McGurk Alumni Stadium in Amherst, Massachusetts, where it will be the Bowling Green Falcons versus the UMass Minutemen. Hi, everyone. I'm Bob Picozzi, along with Matt Chatham, who is a linebacker on 3 Super Bowl championship teams with the New England Patriots. Thanks for spending your first Saturday of autumn with us. Well, Matt, no team has won back-to-back MAC titles since 2003, 2004. Bowling Green's the defending champ. Is this team good enough to repeat?
Well, we don't have that answer yet, Bob, but we're going to find that out today, because to win the MAC, it is MACtion. You expect these high-scoring games, but you got to play a little bit of defense. They had a horrible game initially, giving up 59 points to Western Kentucky, and last week's game against Wisconsin, 68, might be a throwaway game. Now you have commensurate competition. How do you do? Can you stop somebody?
But they certainly have no shortage of weapons on offense, including a guy who leads the MAC in receptions and receiving yards.
He does. Freshman wide receiver, #1, Roger Lewis. He's averaging over 100 yards a game. He's had a couple touchdowns, and he's been extremely productive. The stage has not been too big for this young guy.
And it is an historic day for the football program here at UMass. The first game on campus since the Minutemen made the jump to the FBS level since 2011. Terrific atmosphere.
It's an awesome atmosphere, but we got to be honest, it's different for both teams. It's homecoming, but they haven't been here home much, so I don't know how much of an advantage it is, but it's a beautiful environment and a great place to play some college football.
And it is homecoming day and a beautiful weather day here. There's your temperature, 83 degrees. The forecast calls for mostly sunny skies. And indeed, it is homecoming. It's not 90 miles away at Gillette Stadium in Foxborough, but truly at home for the first time since November of 2011. Bob Picozzi and Matt Chatham back in Amherst, Massachusetts, all set for the third meeting between Bowling Green and UMass. It is the Mid-American Conference opener for both teams. Bowling Green won it all a year ago, beating Northern Illinois in the MAC championship game. And Bowling Green, not only, Matt, has won the first 2 meetings between these 2 teams, but they have been lopsided ball games.
They have been, but you know what? Mark Whipple wasn't there, and he's brought an explosive offense in here that's had some success against some bigger-time opponents. Now he gets to bring it down to MAC competition and find out if that translates for this team.
And Whipple, in his first season, in his second tour of duty as the coach at UMass, last time around, all he did in his first year was win a national championship at the FCS level in 1998. There he is, was here for first tour of duty, was the coach for 6 years, then went to the NFL, where he started out as quarterback coach for the Steelers. He was Ben Roethlisberger's first quarterback coach in the NFL. His counterpart, Dino Babers, is in his first year at Bowling Green. Very successful 2-year tenure at Eastern Illinois before this. Took Eastern Illinois to back-to-back playoff appearances. And last year, Matt, he coached in college a young man by the name of Jimmy Garoppolo, won the Peyton Award, and now is Tom Brady's backup with the Patriots.
Yes, and he did well with Jimmy. He's a very seasoned guy who came right in the NFL and seems to have won a backup job right off the bat.
UMass has won the toss and is elected to receive. Anthony Farinello will kick off, and he will drive the ball right through the end zone. Touchback. And we'll get our first look at the UMass offense led by quarterback Blake Fronapple. Fronapple is a graduate student, a transfer from Marshall, has 2 years of eligibility, and he has been hot and cold in the first 4 games.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say, Bob. I mean, he's getting his feet under him. They're starting to figure out who his guys are going to be go to. Obviously, we expected Tajay Sharp to be a big target, but trying to find that secondary and third production in the absence of a run game has really been Fronapple's challenge.
And starting at tailback will be Shadrach Obrokwa, his first appearance of the season, number 22. Fronapple, plenty of time on first down. He throws and has his man Gene Siffrin, the big tight end. He's across midfield, inside the 40. And how's that for your first play and your first game on campus in nearly 3 years?
Yeah, if Siffrin has done nothing this year, he's had his share of exciting plays. The amazing one-handed catch there in the end zone against Colorado, and now for whatever reason he comes in the game, an unexpected start, and he makes the big play to start it off, basically uncovered. Big guy, 6'7", huge target, still learning this offense, though, with Mark Whipple. Mistakes have been an issue, but that's a great way to start the ball game.
Had 2 touchdown catches in that Colorado game, including a top 10 SportsCenter highlight catch. And here's Obrokwa, his first carry, and he is stopped for a 2-yard loss. Paul Stent made the stop. Matt, who are the impact players when UMass has the football?
Well, when UMass has the football, I'm actually looking to Mark and Michelle, the other wide receiver this week, because you know what? People are they're gonna focus on Tajay Sharp. So you're not gonna have the opportunity necessarily to find that secondary production. Defensively, you have to look at Bowling Green's Gabe Martin. He's the most NFL-ready guy that they have on this team. Defensively, they struggled a little bit, but you'll find that guy all over the field today.
They completed the pass to Sharp. He actually lost the yard, so now UMass will be 3rd down and about 13. UMass so far this season 104th in the country at converting 3rd downs. They've only converted 33% of the time. 3 receivers to the right. You mentioned Michelle. He's at the top of your screen. Frohnapple to throw across the middle, and he has his man Sifrin for the 1st down at the 20-yard line.
Well, Sifrin apparently is a big part of the game plan going in because he isn't drawing a ton of attention, but he's right here in the middle of the field, and Frohnapple goes for a window that's open for just a second, but you can see the big guy's strong arm fitting it in there into a tight spot. Sifrin does a great job of pulling it in. 2
catches for 49 yards for Sifrin. Frohnapple hit as he threw the football. And
he needs to get on that, yep.
A wounded duck off to the right. Schwederman was there to hit him. Gus Schwederman getting the start at tackle today because Zach Colvin is out with an injury.
They needed to spot that ball there, Bob. I believe they were calling that a lateral because on contact, the ball did go backwards behind the line of scrimmage.
Yep, so it goes as an 8-yard loss. Good news for Frohnapple is not a passing attempt.
Yeah, I guess we
helps
can
your
look at
completion percentage.
There you go.
Doesn't help your down and distance.
There you go.
And we're going to get a timeout as Mark Whipple summons his troops. And the officials want a replay to make sure, indeed, the call is correct. It's very simple. The ball has to go forward to be a forward pass. If not, it's a fumble.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that's the right call.
Yeah, it's a correct call.
It doesn't matter whether your arm's going forward or where you intended to throw the ball. What matters is where your feet were when you released the football and where the ball lands.
I think
and if
on
it's
that
backwards, it's goes as a lateral.
I'd give the young guy Brokaw some credit because that's a heads-up play. He knew enough to jump on that ball. He's only a sophomore. He's a younger guy, but he knew enough to get on top of it and make sure that the bad play wasn't a terrible play.
Our referee this afternoon is Larry Smith. The last time a football game was televised here at McGurk Stadium, they didn't have replay because they didn't have a replay booth. In fact, that's one reason why the MAC, the list that they gave UMass, that before you can play a game on campus, you have to do this, and one of them was to create a booth for replay officials.
True enough.
Bowling Green, we'll take one more look at that play. Well, let's see. Watch his feet. And the ball lands. Oh, that's really close.
It's about a half-yard back. I think it's the correct call.
Schwederman really
lands about a half-yard back of where Frohnapple's feet were set.
Of course, you always have to keep in mind when you're the intended receiver in that situation is you have to assume that it's a live ball. And if you find out later it wasn't, well, then there's no harm. There's a big harm if you assume it's a forward pass and you were wrong. The other team can pick it up and run it in.
Right, and we know what the expression "assume" stands for. And trust me, as a young player, the last thing you want on a Sunday meeting going in tomorrow is having to hear why you didn't jump on that ball just in case. Very heads-up play there by Brokaw.
Long discussion. Larry Smith is about to rule.
The ruling on the field of a backward pass recovered by the offense stands. Please reset the game clock to 12:51, 12:51.
So it goes as a backward pass.
Thank you.
And UMass, it's been an interesting drive. They had plus 27 on one, plus 22, and they've had 3 negative plays.
Not how you draw it up, Bob. Mark Whipple has talked and emphasized throughout the games we've done covering UMass this year the importance of winning first down. Negative 8-yard play on first down would not qualify as such.
Mark and Michelle lined up in the backfield now alongside Frohnapple, and he catches the screen pass, but he cannot get away from Paul Sen, who is starting today at outside linebacker, and Greg Martin, second team All-MAC outside linebacker, is playing in the middle today.
Yeah, a little bit of a shuffling job there on the Bowling Green linebacking core. A lot of that's just to simply get speed on the field and to get their leader in the middle of it. Gabe Martin playing some middle linebacker for the first time.
3rd and 13. Frohnapple will take off for the football. He's got to get inside the 10, and he doesn't. He stopped right around the 10, a good yard shy. The kicking game this year for UMass has been an absolute disaster.
You're going to see Frohnapple here with a little bit of fleet-footedness. I mean, we're not going to go out and call him Michael Vick quite yet, but he sees the window, he gets down and gets that big body running forward.
And they give to a Broqua. He's got nowhere to go. Reverses his field. Second effort. He still doesn't get the first down. A tremendous effort by a Broqua, but UMass is stopped on fourth down.
4 negative plays, exactly. Broqua here with a nice second effort to keep the play alive. They went a little bit of hurry up, caught even us off guard a bit there. But a Broqua you'll see is a little bit of a stocky guy, kind of a strong little body. Word in UMass circles, a little Marcel Ship to him. But he's a strong guy. You saw him fight off the tackle there a little bit, but it was just too little too late. Getting hit in the backfield is not a good way to start it down, especially when you're a young running back, just getting the hang of things.
James Kanapke is the quarterback leading Bowling Green, and on first down he hands to Travis Green. Now you better not go out for a sandwich or a beverage if you're watching at home when Bowling Green has the football. They play a high tempo offense. They rarely huddle. They snap the ball in a hurry. They want to get in as many plays as possible, and they can drive a defensive coordinator absolutely nuts. There's the handoff again to Green. Tripped up and knocked down at around the 20, so it'll be third down and 2.
Well, no surprise there. Coach Dino had told us that, anytime they could get the ball into Travis Green's hand, it was a good thing. He's their most explosive player, not in the wide receiver group.
Kanapke to throw across the middle, in and out of the hands of Roger Lewis. And the Falcons go 3 and out on their first possession. Jackson Porter with the coverage for the Minutemen.
Well, an interesting situation there, too, because the free safety has an opportunity to come down here and either destroy the play or either stay back and potentially catch that tip. It looked like a play where he might have even had an opportunity to make a play on the ball, but instead goes through his hands, he comes down, makes the break, and the interception doesn't happen. Neither does a big hit. Get away with the drop, get off the field.
Joe Davidson into punt, 7th in the MAC, averaging 42.7 yards. And the Minutemen have 2 men deep. Dudley Giles, number 9, and number 88, Bernard Davis. Davidson's a left footer, gets off a beautiful kick. Fair catch, Dudley Giles at his own 40.
Curious, Bob, how much of that was prompted by some of his preseason or pregame kicking. The ball was kind of all over the place in warmups. Feel a little safer with 2 back there.
40-yard punt, no return, no score early in the first quarter. Second possession for UMass. 1st and 10 at its own 40. Offset eye behind the quarterback Frohnapple. The fullback is Matt Talesia, and Broqua is the tailback. Frohnapple to throw, looks long up the field for Jalen Williams. He's got him. He's gone. Jalen Williams, a junior from Kennesaw, Georgia, transfer from Dean College, his first career touchdown, and it went 60 yards.
Well, just a beautiful throw here by Frohnapple. And understand, Jalen Williams has been a pretty modest part of the offense. He hasn't been a big play guy for them, a modest amount of catches. But he catches sort of the post corner route there over the top of another option. Frohnapple has 2 choices. Go low, go high. He goes high, and they make the huge play to get this thing started off. 7-0.
The extra point is good by Blake Lucas. Blake Frohnapple with his 7th touchdown pass of the season. 60 yards. Offensive coordinators love those one-play drives. Well, the first touchdown for UMass in a home game on campus as an FBS team was a memorable one.
I think so. You didn't have time to catch up there. One-play drives. All coaches love that. And from a guy that was a little bit of an unexpected explosive element, Mark Whipple talked about trying to find that big play guy, maybe working Mark and Michelle in there more as a ball carrier, trying to get the people that can make plays with the football in their hands. Williams wasn't where he expected it to go, but credit Frohnapple with an absolutely perfect ball. He throws that so far to the sideline that it can only be caught by Williams, and it was.
By the way, the offensive coordinator happens to be the head coach.
Yeah.
Mark Whipple, he is the offensive coordinator. Ronnie Moore, 6th in the MAC in kickoff return. Short kick from his own 10, and he gets it out to the 27. Penalty marker on the play. It's almost always some sort of illegal block on a kickoff return, and we'll see if indeed that's the case.
Holding, return team number 57. 10-yard penalty from the flag. First down.
Zach Bartman is called for the hold, and penalties have been a huge problem for Bowling Green this year. They are 104th in the country in penalty yardage with 65 yards per game.
End of the run.
Yeah, it's the proverbial shooting yourself in the foot, especially when you've gone on the road to a hostile environment. You know, play in front of 80,000 fans at Camp Randall last week. That's sort of the outlier. That's unusual. You come here to the smaller environment. We got a packed house here at McWork, and you're backing yourself up in your own territory on a series where you're looking to answer a big touchdown. That's not how you want to get it done.
So they'll take over at the 17. A bubble screen caught by Ryan Burbrink. Pickup of about 4 on the play. Bowling Green lost their starting quarterback, Matt Johnson, to a season-ending hip injury. He played the first game against Western Kentucky. And Johnson was on the preseason watch list for the Walter Camp Award, the Maxwell Award, and the Davey O'Brien Award. So that was a huge blow on opening day. The end around to the flanker, Ronnie Moore, and it looks like he has the first down just across the 27-yard line.
Yeah, Bowling Green here going to Ronnie Moore, a little bit of a trick play. Expect virtually everyone who's eligible at some point today to touch the ball for this Bowling Green offense.
2 wide receivers to each side. The pass goes to Moore. Pickup of about 2 on the play. Who are the impact players, Matt, when Bowling Green has the football?
Well, when Bowling Green has the football, you know about the wide receiver. We always talked about him, but Travis Green, you got to get the ball to your back. He's the guy, and we're going to have a tough time keeping up here because they keep that offense moving. But on the defensive side, look for Randall Jett. The UMass defense needs to force some kind of play. You understand that Bowling Green's going to move the ball around. They're going to make some plays. They're going to move some yardage. But the guy on that defense that's made some plays in the past, that's Randall Jett at the cornerback position.
3rd and 4, and they convert it. Burbrink with the catch, driven out of bounds by Trey Dudley Giles at the 39-yard line. Bowling Green coming off that loss to Wisconsin, the number 19 team in the country. It wasn't pretty. It was 68-17. Bubble screen. Lewis, pickup of about 7 yards on the play to the 46. Jovan Santos Knox made the stop from his inside linebacker position. Looking right again. Plenty of time, then throwing to the sideline, and he missed his man. He had Burbrink, but he threw it wide.
Yeah, that was just a poor throw by Kanapke because he actually had the seam route wide open down the middle, down to this third of the middle of the field, and he had the out route as well. He just absolutely missed him. But UMass looks a little on their heels right now, really not knowing where the ball's going on each and every snap.
Bowling Green 1 for 2 on 3rd down. Kanapke throws deflected and intercepted by Jackson Porter. Porter has a blocker in front of him, and he's brought down at the 25-yard line. So UMass in business. They get a 60-yard touchdown, and on the next possession, they get a turnover.
Well, this is just another high ball by Kanapke. Much like on the play before, he just overthrows this guy. It's up off the hands, fingertips. Almost might have been better not to tip the ball because he gives Porter a chance. He's high. He's been high in a couple throws today, high and a little bit behind. Sometimes you don't need to jump if you're the wide receiver there. But UMass playing a little bit of a not-so-aggressive defensive style. They're sitting back in coverage, sort of allowing some of these plays to come to them. When they're moving that quickly on the offensive side of the ball, you have to stay pretty vanilla. And unfortunately, for Bowling Green, it's paid off thus far for UMass.
3rd interception of the season thrown by Kanapke. Frohnapple to throw. They blitz him, and he goes down. He's hit by James Sanford.
Yeah, now that sack there is all on Frohnapple. He had 2 unblocked guys, which means there has to be a hot route component out here to the flat towards the booth side for us. There were plenty of people for him to turn and throw the ball to. He didn't detect it. He didn't see it. He had unblocked guys in his protection, wasn't aware of it. Let him come, didn't get rid of the ball. He took a sack that didn't have to be taken.
UMass this year, 106th in the country in allowing sacks. That's the 12th one they've allowed. Protection has been an enormous issue. J.T. Blyden in at tailback, number 23 for the Minutemen, and he gets the football. Huge hole left side. Then he lost his own footing. Managed to get back to around the 27, but he could have picked up several more yards.
Yeah, Blyden tackled himself on this one. There was plenty of room here. They're showing sort of the jet sweep idea where the reverse is meant to hold the outside linebackers, create that hole. Blyden makes the hard cut but falls down. Turf monster.
Now, Bowling Green was forced to take a timeout.
Timeout. Bowling Green. That was their first charge. There'll also be a media timeout.
If there was any doubt, Bob, it is Maction. We're getting that pace from both sides of the ball.
We'll step aside midway through the first quarter. UMass up by 7 and driving. Out of the Bowling Green timeout. 3rd down and 12 for UMass at the Bowling Green 27. Minutemen 1 for 2 on 3rd downs today. 3-man Bowling Green front. And they rush 5. And Frohnapple will go down again. 2nd sack of the day. It looked like Brian Thomas was the first one to get to him. His 3rd sack of the year.
Well, it was really sort of take your pick. There's a little bit of twist here. 5 men coming, 3 one way, 2 the other. You really could have taken your pick. Any number of guys could have got the sack. Just the offensive line did not pick up the production. Frohnapple gets hit on both sides, and there was another defensive lineman coming had they not. So that's definitely a protection issue. You know, the previous play, I think Frohnapple could have got rid of it. You know, felt the hot. There was no hot there. That was just simply a twist that came from the core.
And a fumble on the play recovered by UMass. So the first turnover of the day for the Minutemen. Each team has turned it over once, so UMass does not capitalize on that interception. On 1st down, the pass to Burbrink. Pickup of about 7 yards to the 39-yard line. Tackle made by Stanley Andre.
Yeah, and if you're Bowling Green, that's a huge get. Generally points off turnovers or turning points in games. So to not give up 3, much less get the ball back, that's a huge momentum swing for them.
Empty backfield for the Falcons. Kanapke going deep down the middle has Burbrink. All the way to the UMass 26-yard line. What happened on that breakdown?
Well, this just looks pretty unfettered right up the middle of the left seam. He's running right up the middle of the zone defense. Nobody's picking him up. They got to get some reroutes. Guys are running free.
On 1st down, the handoff goes to Fred Coppett. He gets nowhere, and a penalty marker on the play.
Yeah, when you see defensive linemen clapping as they come out, somebody on the interior, I believe it was Daniel Main there that was doing the clapping from the defensive tackle position. Somebody thinks they got held, and with the laundry on the field, they must be right.
Coppett's first carry of the day, a sophomore from Fort Lauderdale, has already scored 4 touchdowns this year. A 4-way discussion. Both of these teams have played very challenging non-conference schedules.
To say the least, Bob.
Both getting whacked last week by Big Ten teams. UMass losing at Penn State, and Bowling Green losing at Wisconsin. And here's the call from Larry Smith. Well, now they're going to chat some more.
By the offense. Holding number 55. That penalty is declined. Personal foul, face mask, number 55. That penalty is accepted. 15 yards from the previous spot. Remains 2nd down.
A rough play for Alex Huddle, who is their best offensive lineman.
Yeah, this is one of those sort of a la carte plays where you've got a number of penalties to choose from. Kazanovic there is getting his head nearly ripped off. He knew something happened. His hand was up. Flag was out.
So you heard the call. They accept the face mask penalty. Kanapke to throw. Fires and overthrew Lewis. Coverage on the play by strong safety Joe Colton.
Yeah, it looked like Lewis slipped a little bit coming out of that break. Kanapke's been high on a few balls. That one was high more so because the receiver didn't come out clean at the top of the route. So you can't put that one on the quarterback so much as the route running a little bit of slippage there with the surface.
1 wide receiver to the left and 3 to the right on 2nd and 25. Kanapke on the screen to Coppett. Has plenty of room in front of him. Goes all the way down to the 23-yard line. A pickup of 18 on the play. They have to get to the 16, so they still need about 6 or 7.
I would say Coppett ran to get tackled there. I mean, it was a very aggressive run and fast play by him, but that screen was set up so incredibly well. There wasn't a maroon body on the left half of the field. He ran back to the center of the field and kind of got caught by the pursuit because as much. He got sideline, he goes home.
Empty backfield on 3rd down. Kanapke throws, hits his man. I'm not sure he got the first down, Matt.
Not either. He parked right at sticks depth, but he came back to the ball a little bit. Looks like they're marking him about half a yard short.
And the no huddle, the keeper Kanapke, and he definitely has the first down.
That's sometimes the smart move by the quarterback. Young guy there, Kanapke, taking the snap quickly, but you need to get your tackles set there in the gaps. And if they don't get set and you're going hurry up and you can go ahead and just goose the center and fall forward, that's a really high percentage play for an offense.
1st and 10 at the 15-yard line, under the 6-minute mark, first quarter. Kanapke throws, swing pass, cop it. First man to hit him was Kari Bailey Smith at around the 15-yard line, so a pickup of maybe 1 yard on the play.
Well, and the good sign there, if you're Mark Whipple and you're looking at your defense and you're looking for a sign, they played pretty solid red zone defense this season, and you see 6, 7, 8 maroon hats there all over the ball, so they're at least gang tackling, if you can say enough of that.
Kanapke throws to the right, caught by Moore inside the 10, breaks a tackle, looks like he may have the first down. Looks like they're going to spot the ball just inside the 5, very close to the chain.
Well, this play here with Moore, and you can see the skill at the wide receiver position. Some of the run after catch, it's really come from 3, 4, 5 different guys. Nice little effort after the play there. Looks like his right foot was out of bounds, but you can definitely see the athleticism, the explosiveness, really multiple options that Kanapke's going to have to go with the ball and still find productivity.
The injured player is Jovan Santos Knox, 6'2", 240-pound junior from Xavier High School in Middletown, Connecticut. And out to tend to him is the athletic trainer Jen Brodeur, team doctor Pierre Rouzier. Bowling Green opened the season. They scored 31 points and they lost by 28 at Western Kentucky. Bowling Green, of course, is from Bowling Green, Ohio, and they played that game in Bowling Green, Kentucky, the home of Western Kentucky. Then they came home and beat VMI 48-7. Then their best win of the year, they beat Indiana 45-42 and a touchdown pass in the final minute. And then came the 68-17 loss at Wisconsin a week ago. Now, Mark Whipple, you're not going to get any sympathy from Mark Whipple on Bowling Green's non-conference schedule.
No.
Because UMass opened the season with 4 straight games against teams in Power 5 conferences. Boston College from the ACC, Colorado from the Pac-12, Vanderbilt from the SEC, and Penn State from the Big Ten. So Santos Knox is helped off the field, and it will be 1st and goal at the 4. Handoff, Andre Givens in the game. Continues to push the pile forward inside the 1.
You can see the versatility of style here with Bowling Green. They're able to spread you out, but when it gets down here and gets tight, they'll put 3 tight ends on the field and still be able to move the ball forward.
Pullman, a tight end, lined up in the backfield. Handoff, Givens, and I'm not even sure he got back to the line of scrimmage. Robert Kitching hit him.
Well, what I think they're setting up here, Bob, is some play action. They've really just sort of stuck their nose in there 2 plays in a row, get that UMass defense to squeeze. And now you've got your solo situation with Lewis out there on the outside, potentially using that now as your mismatch.
Randall Jett is on him. Instead, they hand off Givens again, and he is stopped. He lost maybe 2 yards on the play.
Well, and if you're UMass, you're saying thank you. Allow us to pack the box and continue to just do dive as if you're Navy. That was a very helpful play call there. UMass defense stacks the box, gets the play, makes the play.
So they send on the kicking game. It will be Tyler Tate. He's a good one. 4 for 4 against Indiana. He's had a 52-yarder this year. He's on the Lou Groza Award watch list. And Dino Baber says he has NFL potential. He is 6 for 8 this season. This will be a 26-yard kick. Clayroff will snap, and the quarterback, Kanapke, will hold. And the kick is good. So UMass manages to hold. It was 1st and goal at the 4. It was 2nd and goal from the 1. And if you're UMass, you have to be pleased that you held Bowling Green to a field goal.
If you could say anything about this UMass team, as difficult as the competition's been, they've been a pretty good red zone team, especially early in that season, where they really fought Boston College hard in the first half. They fought Colorado pretty hard. And a lot of that came from forcing the other team to surrender field goals. Eventually, they would wear down against the bigger, tougher competition, but they've been a pretty solid red zone team this year. Give up some yards, give up some distance on the green field, but eventually they harden and hold you to 3.
65-yard, 12-play drive. It took 3 minutes and 39 seconds. We mentioned the non-conference schedule that UMass played, and when we were chatting this week with UMass coach Mark Whipple, I use the expression the meat of the schedule. Say, well, now you have the tough non-conference schedule out of the way. Are you happy that you're finally in the meat of our schedule? And he said, meat of the schedule. Does that mean you think BC, Colorado, Vandy, and Penn State, what were they, the salad bar?
Right, exactly.
But he said, look, you play who you're scheduled to play. It is what it is. We try to use each game as a learning experience, but yes, we are glad we are in league play. The kick by Farinella will not be returned, and the Minutemen will take over 1st and 10 at the 25-yard line. And another look at Blake Fronapple. We also chatted with Mark about how easy is it for your team to get discouraged, because at some point you work, and it's nice to have a tangible result, aka a win. And he said, well, trying to prevent them from getting discouraged is always a concern, but I like this team. We practice better each week. We try to learn from each game and get better.
That's important. Keeping spirits high. Both teams understood what they had in that sort of gauntlet stretch of the first month. Now they get to get into MAC action and find out who they really are.
I formation to Leisure and Obrokwa, who gets the handoff. And he picks up 2 tough yards off left guard. Obrokwa is a young man who didn't play until late in the season last year. Then in back-to-back games, he rushed for 93 yards against Central Michigan and then 110 yards against Ohio. Gets the handoff again, and he's tripped up by Turner. He fumbled the football, and Bowling Green indicates they have it. And they do. The second turnover for UMass. Ball is recovered by Taylor Royster.
Tackler here does an incredible job of just simply going low and submarining through. The ball's out there and exposed by Obrokwa. Gets it out. Helmet's right on the ball, I believe. Boom, gone, out. Got to hang on to that thing, but sometimes that just happens. You got to put that thing away. Making the dive as a young back. He's only had, half dozen carries so far this year. So turnovers are going to be a big part of this game. We saw UMass have one deep in their territory and not convert. In the event that Bowling Green does here, that's a huge momentum swing for them.
Bernard Turner forced the fumble. Taylor Royster recovered it. And now, Obrokwa, let's face it, he was in Mark Whipple's doghouse. He had been practicing but had been held out of games so far because of, quote, this is the coach's quote, a non-football, non-disciplinary issue. And when you fumble the football, it's not going to help that situation at all. It just isn't.
Yeah. Non-football. Well, that was a football problem. So it's easy to sort of figure that, your carries might be reduced. When you get your big opportunity, you got some ability, but if you put it on the ground, we have to look to another option. That's what happens with young backs.
2nd down and 2. On the reverse, it's Moore with Green in front of him. Didn't get much of a block from Green. And Enoch Asante, a young man who grew up in Ghana, made the stop.
Well, what you look for more now is, because they stretched you wide, now the fake that stretches you wide becomes more important. Look for some more vertical gaps here in that UMass defense.
On 3rd and 3, nice hit, but he didn't finish him off. And Moore gets by and goes in the end zone for a touchdown. A missed tackle by UMass results in a Bowling Green touchdown. Randall Jett missed the tackle.
Well, you can see a difference in approach here. Randall Jett's essentially doing a block tackle. He's just going to give a shoulder, kind of throw a wing in there, and not finish the play. Had he submarined himself as well and gone low and chopped him down, he could have had a chance to put a head on the ball as well. But when you turn your shoulder, your head follows, so you can't really see what you're hitting, and you clearly can't wrap up. Randall Jett's one of their best players in defensive backfield, but he gave one up there, and that was critical. Could have been a tackle, keep him in the red zone.
Tyler Tate in to kick the extra point. It is a 33-yard, 3-play drive. It took only 37 seconds, and of course it was created by the turnover.
Capitalizing on the turnover here, but you'll see you get a pretty good shot of it. You give him a great shot. The guy's ribs are going to be bruised. He'll have a rough morning tomorrow, but he gets the touchdown. He stays up, stays strong. You see him here trying to catch a little wind after. Clearly the hit shook him up, but the absence of a wrap-up on the tackle is really what resulted in those last 20 yards.
3rd touchdown catch of the year for Ronnie Moore, a 5'9", 168-pound sophomore from Sanford, Florida. And the 5th touchdown pass for James Kanapke. There's your scoring drive. And the turnovers have been a big factor so far. So all that momentum that UMass, remember, UMass jumped in front 7-0 on the 60-yard touchdown pass. And then they had the interception. They had the ball deep in Bowling Green territory. They got no points. They didn't convert on a third down. And they not only didn't convert, they lost the ball on a fumble. Then they, following the Bowling Green field goal, they turned the ball over UMass again, and then the quick touchdown. Here's Kari Bailey-Smith returning the kickoff out to about the 23-yard line with 2:51 remaining in the first quarter. So far, Kanapke, the quarterback for the Falcons, 12 for 16, 134 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception.
And all those plays happened in 4 total seconds, Bob. I mean, they're just moving the ball around so quickly, getting a lot done in a small amount of time and being relatively efficient with it. That is a Bowling Green offense.
1st and 10 for the Minutemen. And despite the fumble, Obrokwa is still in the backfield, and he gets the handoff on 1st down, and he gets another 1st down. A 12-yard run to the 35. Darrell Hunter made the stop.
Obrokwa reminds me of a guy I played with in New York, a guy named Thomas Jones. He has that sort of squat, but really strong, sort of good balance to him. But sometimes those big arms and that big core, the ball does stay out a little bit wide from his body. That's where the fumble came from.
2 tight end look on 1st down. Handoff of Obrokwa again. May have picked up 1 yard on the play.
Mark Whipple spoke to us this week about the need to find some explosive plays, to find some guys that could be game breakers, whether that be getting Michelle some carries or getting some bubble screens himself, and also somehow limiting the reps that Tajay Sharp gets. I mean, he's been going wire to wire, has really been their big offensive threat. There's been some sets today where we haven't seen Sharp even on the field. They're managing his reps, making sure he gets those explosive plays, an opportunity to impact the game.
Offset I formation. To throw, looking left, Frohnapple. He underthrew his intended receiver, Jalen Williams. Frohnapple had completed his first 5 passes before that miss. 3rd down and 9. Let's see if they go after him. No, only a 3-man rush. They've sacked him twice already. Frohnapple looking long for Sifrin, and he makes the catch for the 1st down at the Bowling Green 41 net. Then he dropped the football. They're going to say it's a catch or no? Nope, incomplete. Denard Turner knocked it out of his hands at the last second.
Well, you can see the theme here. Sifrin being a big-bodied 6'7" guy, Sharp a 6'4" guy. Mark's putting a lot of his big guys on the field. Never had that ball. A little bit thrown behind him. Was a competitive, though, 50-50 ball that Sifrin could have come down with, but clearly he didn't.
Into punt is Brian McDonald. He had an interesting day 2 weeks ago against Vanderbilt. He threw a 53-yard touchdown on a fake punt. He also had a punt blocked in return for a touchdown. Fair catch called for by number 3, Brian Sutton, and it will be 1st and 10 at the 33-yard line for Bowling Green. 31-yard punt and no return. We mentioned the injury to Matt Johnson and what its impact was, and Dino Baber said, look, they have a new coach in town. He says, we have a brand new system. You don't train 2 quarterbacks when you introduce a new system in the spring or the summer. So when you lose your starting quarterback, it's like starting all over. Kanapke to throw, completes the pass on the left side. Pickup of about 7 by T.O. Redding, redshirt freshman from Warren, Michigan. Approaching the 1-minute mark in the first quarter. Kanapke, and he just threw it away. He saw the rush coming up the middle from Shaquille Holiness, a transfer from UConn. And do you think he gave up on the play a little early?
We had a receiver in area.
You know what, Bob? I think it's a smart move. You got such a big chunk on 1st down. They make it to 2nd and 3, essentially. You can go ahead and cash one there because you've still got 3rd and manageable. You had a lot of guys in his face. A turnover is a much worse scenario.
And Krasanovic beat the snap unless he was drawn. Krasanovic is acting as if it's a false start, and it will be.
False start. Offense number 72. 5-yard penalty. Remains 3rd down.
Ben Stewart sophomore from Holt, Michigan. Third penalty for 30 yards for the Falcons.
Well, it's a good way to get rid of third and manageable with the bad penalty. Bowling Green will shoot themselves in the foot. We've seen that throughout the season with them. They have a nice gain on first down, and then you back it up with 2 negative plays.
Got to get to the 43. Kanapke looking for it all up the side for Lewis, and was he inbounds or not? He caught the football. They're saying it's a catch. Wonder if they'll review this one. All the way to the 24-yard line. A 41-yard completion.
I don't think they're going to need to review this one, Bob. This is just so smooth. You see the ability Lewis has here. He just in stride, no break, hands up at the very last moment, so the defensive back can't get a hand in there. Makes the catch, gets a foot in.
Defensive back was Jackson Porter. Now the bubble screen goes right back to Lewis, and he picks up 9 or 10 more yards. He's right near the first down marker at about the 14 with 49 seconds to go in the first quarter.
Oh, and this is how Roger Lewis has accumulated so many catches this year. He can be a downfield threat, and they also use him as a catch and run guy. Big play down the field on a fade, then you hit him back with a bubble screen on the very next snap.
He did get a first down. Handoff Green on the draw, breaks a tackle, still on his feet, and is finally brought down by Jackson Porter at around the 14-yard line.
Well,
so no gain.
You can see the explosive that Dino Babers was talking about there with his feet. Green backed out of that cut, bounced out of that thing. I don't know, trying to think of a back, maybe a Brian Westbrook from Philly kind of thing, but he's got hot feet. That guy's got some explosiveness. Exciting things happen on that play, a negative play, but he always keeps it interesting, that's for sure.
Final seconds of the quarter. The pass is deflected at the line of scrimmage by Kari Bailey-Smith.
And that's such an important play there by Bailey Smith. It's the little things that generally matter, especially once you get here backed up.
And that will be the final play of the first quarter, unless they're going to put another tick or two back on the clock. His clock, of course, stops with an incomplete pass. Officials are huddling. The two teams think the quarter's over. So we haven't had an official word. Bailey Smith coming on the blitz, and he got his hands up to block that pass. Here's the announcement from Larry Smith. That is the end of the first quarter. So Bowling Green will have the ball 3rd and 11 at the UMass 14-yard line. At the end of one, the Falcons lead by 3. Bob Picozzi, Matt Chatham back in Amherst, all set for the start of the second quarter. Bowling Green 10, UMass 7, 3rd and 12 for Bowling Green at the 15. Kanapke in the end zone, and it's incomplete. The ball looked like it hit Stanley Andre, maybe up around the helmet. I'm not sure he intentionally knocked that down. It didn't appear he was even turning around.
Well, the best thing you can do is put your body between the man and the quarterback. He does a great job there of sort of shadowing, carrying the route up the seam.
Pass intended for Ryan Burbrink, so in to attempt the field goal will be Tyler Tate. He's 7 for 9 this year. This will be a 38-yarder. He's 1 for 2 this year in the 30 to 39-yard range. High snap, but he drills it right down the middle. So UMass twice has held Bowling Green to field goals, but the Falcons have now scored the last 13 points. Big play, Matt, on the final play of the first quarter on second down.
You know what? I look at this as one of those little things. The thing that didn't have to happen. Kari Bailey-Smith does a great job here realizing I'm not getting anywhere with this offensive tackle. He gets the near arm up, deflects the ball. It's important because his outcut's hitting at a depth here that would have quite likely been a conversion or at least moved him down the field to get a little deeper in the red zone, and maybe you don't have the same sequence of plays later. The little thing that happened prior to that really sort of led to was a table setter for the stop that UMass was able to get down the line. So a lot of these little things that start to creep up once they get in the red zone, it's really what's helped steal this defense from Mark Whipple's squad.
The scoring drive information for the Falcons. 8 plays, 53 yards, took a minute 47. Bowling Green in the first quarter had 208 yards of offense against UMass. Mark Whipple told us, look, we know they're going to move the football. Our red zone defense will be crucial. And so far, red zone defense has been pretty good today, holding them 2 field goals.
Absolutely.
Into kickoff will be Farinella. This one is short. His first 2 were touchbacks. Bailey Smith from his own 8-yard line, and he gets it out to the 20, and the Minutemen will take over from there.
Well, we were always told as special teams players, you know, that little fumble that Cree Bailey-Smith there had with the ball, as you fumble, you take a step backwards, a bucket step, some time to get off that return, they advance at least 5 more yards, 10 more yards. So those milliseconds back at the back end when you're having difficulty getting yourself right, that kickoff team is advancing towards you. That ends up being a very, very short return or an opportunity on a flat ball for a big play.
2 tight ends on first down. The lone setback is Shadrach Obrokwa. Frohnapple to throw. Steps forward in the pocket, and he's tripped up by Gus Schwederman. Got the ball beyond the line of scrimmage, so it will not go down as a sack.
Well, Tajay Sharp is back on the field. You know, as I mentioned, Mark Whipple is sort of manages in his reps. He's got to try to get him through this max schedule. Your most explosive player, you don't necessarily need to go wire for. He runs a lot of go routes, a lot of vertical stuff, but he's back on the field now. Frohnapple didn't look to him on that particular route, but I would expect that at some point here he gets worked back into the game plan.
3 receivers to the left. Sifrin, the tight end, to the right. Obrokwa in the backfield. Frohnapple looks left, throws. It is underthrown, but Sharp went down and caught it anyway. For a first down at the 39.
This is a little bit of a seam read here by Sharp. He's basically running kind of a bow route where he takes it from the hash and goes towards the numbers and makes his way back to the hatch, kind of hiding himself behind the defensive back.
Frohnapple looks to the right. Same man, Sharp. Same result. Might have another first down.
And Bowling Green really does not have a defensive back that matches up well with the 6'4" Sharp. You saw him there strong after the catch with the big forearm. And, you know, he's a guy who they want to get the ball in his hands. He hadn't been in a ton of the other series. They sort of manage his reps. They come in now. First couple balls are going his way. So this appears to be the Tajay Sharp series.
Sharp has had 2 77-yard touchdown receptions this year. One of them last week against Penn State. 4 catches for 99 yards. Mark Whipple told us the other day, he says, I could tell early in the game we just did not have the emotion and the energy, and we called off the dogs in a hurry. At some point, you got to get ready for the rest of your season, and that's what they did last week when they went to Happy Valley. It was not a very happy visit.
There will be no replay for the previous play. Second down.
They lost 48-7 to the Nittany Lions a week ago.
First down.
These officials are having their own little homecomings. We've seen a lot of huddling by that group today.
First and 10 at midfield. Minute and a half gone by. Second quarter, 13-7 Bowling Green on homecoming day, and Obrokwa is nowhere as Taylor Royster made the stop for a 5-yard loss.
Well, that's going to go down in the stat sheet as Obrokwa's loss. He was hit by the time he grabbed that handoff. So Bowling Green had certainly tuned in to whatever down and distance tendency they had.
Frohnapple to throw again. Looks to his right for Sharp. Diving catch at the 38-yard line. Third reception of this drive.
Great play here by Sharp, but also an exceptional ball by Frohnapple. We see the difference when he can step up in the pocket, step into those throws, put a little laser beam on the tail of that thing.
And they're blowing the whistle. They might want to take another look at this.
The previous play is under further review.
Indeed, that's what they'll do. We will take another look ourselves. See what you think.
Rolling on the field was a completed catch.
What do you think?
It's catch. I like that. I'm not exactly. Yeah, shout out to the camera work. Great shot here. I don't think there's much question on that. As much as anything, he's shielding his body between him and the official. I look like he cradled it, had an arm or a hand under that. But, you know, LASIK, did it work for me? Yeah, I believe he's got it. There might be some movement there, but I don't think the tip of the ball cut turf. Best I can tell.
Dino Babers in his first year at Bowling Green. His vision of this program, he says, I want to leave it better than I found it. You have to cut the grass, but you can't forget to fertilize and seed, too.
It was a great metaphor there by Dino. I also liked sort of the insight he gave us that, you know, this MAC is often a conference where we'll let the officials do their talking.
Review, the ruling of a completion stands. First down.
Dino talked about how there's sort of a pattern and a tempo to the MAC where, you know, the team that gets oldest and gets most sort of experience generally wins, and there's cycles. There's cycles in teams that sort of move in and out of the MAC top spot. Northern Illinois has been sort of the curveball there. They've stayed high for a little bit of while and been progressively better each and every year without graduation. He really wants Bowling Green to get to that point where they're perpetually at the top of this conference.
Mark and Michelle lined up in the backfield. Now there's a stoppage of play because a distinguished citizen decided it was a good idea to run across the field and tried to hurdle the board on the sideline and embarrassingly tripped over it, making a total fool out of himself. Now we're ready to go. 2 wide receivers to the left, 2 to the right. Swing pass to Michelle out of the backfield, threw it a little bit too far in front of him. Mark Whipple gave us an indication during the week that he hoped to use Michelle in multiple capacities today.
He's a wide receiver, as a running back. He's one of those sort of athletes, they call it. They're going to find a way to put the football in his hands.
2nd and 10. Michelle in the backfield again. Frohnapple throws to the left, has his man, Bernard Davis, for a short pickup. Gabe Martin made the stop. Martin, a second-team All-MAC linebacker and someone that Dino Babers described as our most NFL-ready player.
Yeah, Martin's got size and he's got speed and he's their leader on the defense. They stick him in the middle. You can sort of be the play caller and sort of control a lot of the tempo, a lot of the stunts, a lot of the stuff that goes on. You're the communicator and you're the sideline-to-sideline guy.
On 3rd and 4, UMass is going to use its first timeout of the first half, and we will step aside as well. Big play coming up for the Minutemen, down by 6. Can they convert? Out of the UMass timeout, 3rd and 4 at the Bowling Green 32. Let's see what head coach Mark Whipple dialed up during that huddle. Michelle lined up in the backfield again. Sharp is in motion. Fakes the handoff to Sharp, then throws up the side to Rodney Mills. Makes the catch and is knocked out of bounds at the 1-yard line. He's already got 3 touchdown catches out of the backfield this season. Officials consulting to see whether or not he's got a 4th one.
Fullback in name only, Bob. Rodney Mills has made some big plays. I believe it was the Colorado game we had him on a vertical as well. This is a bit of a sort of, I don't know if you want to call it a wheel route, but a downfield route by your fullback.
14. That penalty decline results in a play is a first down.
And Mark Whipple talked about trying to find that sort of explosive element. Is it going to be Michelle? Is it more plays with Sharp? Nah, let's get it from our fullback. Love to see that, Bob.
One of his touchdown catches this year was on a 53-yard fake punt return. A fake punt, rather. So it'll be 1st and goal at the 1. There was a defensive holding penalty on Jude Barima, which of course was declined. So let's see.
The field of a completed pass is under further review.
So let's see if UMass can punch it in. But first, we are going to have another review. And we've talked before. Mark Whipple's background is on offense. He was a quarterback's coach in the NFL. He's always been his own offensive coordinator. As we get another look and see if the ball touched that pylon before his knee was down.
That's a touchdown.
Isn't it?
Yeah, it's a touchdown. Absolutely, Bob. Some athleticism out of Mills. Not expecting that from your fullback, but Rodney Mills here does a great job. Kind of anticipate. Okay, my body's going out, got to extend. Does a great job. Catch that pylon. That's a touchdown. Fullback is an athlete.
6'1", 215-pound junior from Gainesville, Florida. At any rate, Mark Whipple's an offensive guy, and he knows that they were way overmatched, and that's an understatement in their first 4 games. But Matt, you and I did. We saw this team play last year. We've seen this team play. This is the 3rd time this year in person. The results aren't there. They're 0-4. This is a much better offensive team. I mean, magnified multiple times than it was last year.
Did you say magnified? I absolutely agree with you, Bob. I think they've done a really good job with Frohnapple at the helm, and finding some other sort of creative ways to get the ball in people's hands. This is a much different offense than a year ago with not too many different faces. Obviously, Siffrin at the tight end position has been a bit of a difference maker. Still trying to work through the running game position. They don't have a ton of productivity back there, but a creativity has really sort of marked the day here for the Whiplash offense.
After the review, the runner had the ball and it touched the pylon, went over the top of the pylon, therefore he had the ball.
Well, what is it they say about Chris Carter? You can say it about Rodney Mills. All he does is catch touchdowns, right? 4 touchdown catches. He has 7 catches this year.
The touchdown Tommy Vardell?
7 touchdowns.
That's just what he does.
7 receptions, and 4 of them are for touchdowns. The extra point to put UMass in front. Blake Lucas kicking the extra points. We were told Matt Wiley would be doing the extra points in short field goal attempts today. Lucas is good. It is a 32-yard drive. Or 80-yard drive, 8 plays, and it ends with a 32-yard reception by the touchdown maker, Rodney Mills, the junior from Gainesville. UMass has regained the lead 14-13 on Blake Fronapple's second touchdown pass of the day.
I like to see this fullback productivity. It reminds me of a player I played with, Larry Centers, one of the leading reception guys in NFL history. It really changes the game if you can get some productivity out of that second back in the backfield, because it makes your linebackers and your safeties have to account for him. Generally, the fullback isn't where you sort of send a defense or send any of your attention. Rodney Mills sort of provides this factor where occasionally, from time to time, if your defense starts to fall asleep, Whipple might get that one-on-one look for Fronapple. You go to the fullback position, just like old Larry Centers.
You played 8 years in the NFL, 6 with the Patriots, 2 with the Jets. Was Centers the best receiver out of the backfield in those 8 years?
Yeah, I would say, and one of his other sort of hidden attributes is Larry loved to chip block. I mean, he broke ribs. You were defensive end that was coming off the edge, and you catch yourself napping a little bit, and he would absolutely knock the wind out of you and all your relatives.
Lucas will kick off. Back deep to return it, but fumbling the football back at the goal line is Andre Givens. And he manages to only get it out to the 13-yard line. And from there, Bowling Green will take over and try to regain the lead. 11:48 remaining in the first half. It's the MAC opener for both teams. A year ago, Bowling Green went 10-4, 7-1 in the MAC. They finished in first place in the East, then defeated Northern Illinois in the MAC championship game and lost to Pitt in the Little Caesars Pizza Bowl. Then they lost their coach, Dave Clausen, who did a great job at Bowling Green, and before that at Richmond, before that at Fordham, and now is in his first year at Wake Forest. Penalty marker on the play before the snap. Is this an illegal substitution?
Illegal substitution. Offense with 12 in the huddle coming out the sideline. Number 10. 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
Number 10 is Hervé Kobe, a wide receiver. How does that happen on the first play of the possession?
Bad football, Bob. That's not much else you need to say. That's just bad football.
So it'll back him up. 1st and 15 at the 8-yard line. Kanapke to throw, has Burbrink across the middle, and he nearly got all 15 of them. He's right at the first down marker. Stanley Andre with the stop, and he did get a first down. Kanapke handoff to Coppett, and he gets it out to the 40-yard line.
Yeah, that was just a quick draw there. I mean, there is obviously some thinness in the defensive front. They're spread out here in basically a 3-man line, almost like a 5-man box. There's only 2 linebackers in there, so they're testing them. Go ahead and run it occasionally, time to time.
Penalty marker, we're either going to get a false start or an offsides. It will be a false start. What's that? 5 penalties already against the Falcons.
False start. Offense number 67. 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
Handoff Coppett to the 37-yard line. 2nd and 13. Steve Casale made the stop. UMass
looked like Downey was in the.
Yeah, they came out of their defensive stance early, then a Bowling Green lineman react, and then the whistle.
Looked to me like Deshaun Downey had, Deshaun, excuse me, had jumped in.
Even though the defensive player jumped, he did not encroach the neutral zone. Therefore, we have false start, offense, number 55, 5-yard penalty, remains second down.
6 penalties for the Falcons, and 3 of them on this possession. Not what Dino Babers had in mind. Kanapke to throw, looks left through, and he threw it behind his intended receiver, Heath Jackson.
I'll tell you this, Bob, I don't think I've seen much of this in the past. We're actually getting a two-man rush out of UMass. They're sending the end, the nose stands up and drops as sort of a low hole player. They're dropping 9 guys into coverage. 9! It's a niner. I've never seen this well, you don't see a lot of this anyhow. They're essentially daring the quarterback to beat them. He's going to have all the time in the world. Is he going to make the right decision?
3rd and 18. Empty backfield, 3-man rush. Kanapke throws across the middle. He has his man Moore for the first down at the UMass 45-yard line.
Well, here's the important part. If you're going to only rush 2, if you're going to drop 9, people have to be rerouted. You got a lot of bodies in the backfield at that 5-yard level. You need to knock the snot out of the receivers. You can't let guys run free up and down the seams.
Now we're going to have a penalty marker before the ball is snapped. UMass tried to make a substitution on defense, and as Casale was heading off the field, the flag was thrown by the field judge.
Prior to the substitution, timeout, UMass. That'll be their second charge. It'll be a 30-second timeout.
We will keep it right here with 10:34 remaining in the second quarter, and UMass leading Bowling Green by a score of 14-13. In chatting with Mark Whipple about this game and all of the publicity leading up to it, he said, you know, homecomings are great, but only when you win. He says, you never remember the homecomings when you lose.
That's not how that works.
And he also, he said, look, everyone's talking about what a great advantage we're going to have. We're playing a game on campus. We haven't played one here since 2011. He says, well, guess what? I asked everybody in our locker room, who's ever played a game at McGurk before, and only 4 guys raised their hands. So actually, there were 5. There was me. I raised my hand, but that's when I coached here the first time. We played all our games.
Right. Like McGurk is like this vacation home that a lot of these guys have never actually visited. You know, it's homecoming, yet they've never been there. So, especially your quarterback, your leader on the field. He's never actually played a game here at McGurk.
Mark Whipple was here the first time around from 1998 through 2003 and won a Division I AA national championship in his first year. The handoff to Coppett, great balance demonstrated, and he picked up 8.
Yeah.
Jovan Santos knocked him out of bounds.
Multiple missed tackles, didn't have to get his pad down to knock the tackle away, just simply kept his balance, as you mentioned, Bob.
Handoff Coppett, he's got the first down. Stanley Andre with the stop after a 3-yard pickup.
Coppett there coming hard downhill, though. Andre made the contact, but yet fell backwards a couple of yards. That's the kind of play with a back that size. You want to square him up, knock him, send him into the backfield.
Offset eye. Handoff Coppett again. Huge hole up the middle. Look out. He's got one man to beat. And Jet knocks him out of bounds inside the 5. They're going to mark it at the 2, a 31-yard gain.
We expected to see these kinds of play out of Green, but Coppett here comes in, gashes this defense. They've only got 3 defensive linemen out there.
Handoff Coppett again, and great penetration by Andre, who couldn't quite finish him off, but he held on long enough. Actually, it was Shaquille Holiness, the first man to hit him. And the helmet comes off, so Coppett will have to come out for a play.
Player's helmet came off. He must leave for one play.
Style changes, though, Bob. They got down here, they crossed that 20, they're now in the red zone, and they pack the box. They bring in a normal defensive line, and they start playing normal defensive sets.
Travis Green in the backfield, Pullman in as a fullback. Handoff Green, right side. He walks into the end zone for the touchdown. Great block by Alex Huddle, who was on the preseason watch list for the Remington Award for the best centers in the country and has been converted to a right guard, and Dino Babers considers him their best run blocker.
Yeah, Huddle's been a leader for this team, and you got to credit Green here with just a great cut. He saw the block, made one decisive one downhill. There was no defender there to make that play.
Tyler Tate in to attempt the extra point, and the kick is good. So we've had 3 lead changes already in this first half. Bowling Green fell behind by 7, scored the next 13. UMass came back to regain the lead, and now Bowling Green back on top on the Travis Green touchdown. It was an 87-yard, 10-play drive, took 2 minutes and 8 seconds, and Bowling Green is back on top. The 4th touchdown run of the season for Travis Green, who a year ago set a school single-season rushing record with 1,594 yards. Had 9 100-yard rushing games a year ago. Farinello to kick off. First 2 went into the end zone, last 2 have not. Alex Kenny with his first return of the day. First time we've seen him on the field, as we get another look at the Travis Green touchdown run. What made the hole open up?
Well, you hit the nail on the head, Bob. Huddle does a great job here at the right guard position, just swallowing his man and making sure that you can't even see the back. He's got him so hemmed up, and he's got a hold of his pads, hands inside, raises it off his punch, and you can't find the back. Nice job there by that offensive line. Really gave these second-level guys no opportunity. When the defensive line gets pushed in your lap and back makes the correct cut, it's over.
Huddle was a second-team All-MAC performer a year ago. Frohnapple to look deep down the middle for Sharp. Contact. Sharp made the catch anyway. We're going to get a pass interference, and it will be declined.
Now, this is one of those plays where you see why Tajay Sharp has some next-level ability. He's so big and he's so strong. Even on contact, he's able to come down with that ball. He can be a vertical guy. He can be a catch-and-run guy. He can be an intermediate route-running guy. And Frohnapple is finding that relationship.
Defense number 14. The penalty decline. Result of the play, first down.
This is a nice job again here by Frohnapple. You see him getting an opportunity to step up into the pocket, which is helpful for him. Sharp brings it in with one hand and then corrals it with 2. That's a great job by the big guy.
34-yard completion. Frohnapple to throw on the screen pass, and Michelle got blown up on the play by Dernard Turner, the free safety. Great pressure by Kendall Montgomery, who Dino Babers considers to be his best pass rusher. Sifrin comes back in at tight end, replacing John Denton. 9 minutes to go first half. Bowling Green by 6. Very entertaining, offensive-minded football game. Frohnapple to throw to his left. He does, and Sifrin went up and got it.
Well, you had a great eye there, Bob, catching Sifrin on the substitution. As soon as he came in, you had to be thinking pass guy. Denton is more of your blocking guy at the tight end position. He's running just a little quick corner out here, and you saw Frohnapple come right out of his drop and go directly to that read. So Sifrin's in there for a reason. They're finding him in the passing game.
1st and 10 at the 25. Frohnapple throws to the left. Penalty marker on the play. Are we going to get a targeting penalty? The hit was applied by Brian Thomas, who's had a sack earlier in the game. College football this year, the targeting rule has been modified.
We have 2 dead ball fouls by both teams. False start, offense, number 77. Be a 5-yard penalty. After that assessment, dead ball, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, defense number 43. 15 yards from the end of the spot, first down.
Tyrell Smith called for the false start, which means the play never happened, and which meant that Brian Thomas was not supposed to hit the quarterback, and he got called for the personal foul. That's 7 penalties for 60 yards for the Falcons. They are killing themselves.
They really are. It'd be interesting from that defensive player's perspective what he could hear down on the field, because it appeared that he still thought the play was live.
Well, can't you hear the whistle when you're down there?
It just depends. The sound carries different on the field. Sometimes where you're at you do, sometimes you don't.
Offset eye. Frohnapple to throw. Good protection. Now it breaks down. He takes off with the football, and he gets all the way to the 5-yard line, just shy of the first down. Charlie Walker finally ran him down.
An eye here on Frohnapple's feet. I mean, he's a little bit of a lumberer, but once he starts striding, he gets going. He's got some sort of pocket mobility to move around, but once he decides to go and puts his head down and goes forward, he's got a little burst to him.
2nd and 1, and we have some movement before the snap. Gus Schwederman came through the line. Was he drawn?
Offsides, defense number 63. It'll be a half of distance penalty remains. Correction, result of the penalty will be a first down.
Gus Schwederman called for the offsides. Half the distance to the goal line, but it gives them the first down. 8 penalties for 65 yards against Bowling Green. Handoff J.T. Blyden, and he barely got back to the line of scrimmage. Blyden has done the bulk of the ball carrying the last couple of weeks because they lost Jamal Wilson, their best running back. He broke his ankle. He might be out for the season. They're still holding out some slight hope they'll get him back. Handoff, Blyden cuts it back, gets inside the 1. Looks like he's about maybe a foot and a half away from the goal line.
And that's one of those places where the score sheet, the box score, is not going to do him much favors because it doesn't look like an explosive play. But that initial cut that he made, making the sort of defender miss so he couldn't get a clean hit, kept it from being a negative play. He sliced forward and maybe got a yard there, whatever it was. But he did a little thing that gave them an opportunity on 3rd down to still punch this in. That was subtle, but it was important for this overall goal.
They're going to mark it at the 1. They need a full yard. Obrokwa back in at tailback, replacing Blyden. And he gets the handoff. Obrokwa, touchdown! Our 4th lead change of the half, and a terrific lead block by the fullback, Matt Talesia.
Yeah, great call here, Bob. We got Talesia here on a nice little lead play, and Obrokwa does a nice thing. Gets little jump step there and gets through. He's the squat guy, the guy with a little more low-centered power. He popped in. They made the substitution for he and Blyden, and he punches it in.
In to attempt the extra point for the lead is Blake Lucas. And he tucks it just inside that left upright. 76-yard drive, 7 plays. It took 2 minutes and 59 seconds, and it ends with a 1-yard run by Shadrach Obrokwa, a 5'9", 202-pound sophomore from Worcester, Massachusetts. Mark Whipple told us this week he was our best running back in the spring, and in summer camp he provides a physical presence and he gives us energy.
Sounds about right, and that's what they're looking for. That energy component is big. They want guys who can put points on the board and get some chunk plays. Those have been your chunk plays guys tonight that Mark Whipple has looked to.
Again, Obrokwa did not play in the first 4 games. He was allowed to practice, was held out of the games for what Mark Whipple described as a non-football, non-disciplinary issue. In other words, I know why he wasn't playing,
right?
And that's all you're going to get.
That's it. Well, you can see how important Obrokwa is to this team. We talked about Jamal Wilson, how it looks like he's down with the ankle. He was the guy that could pass protect, and that's important because Frohnapple needs that extra protection. The back's job, half of it, is to protect in that environment. In the absence, they're going with a bunch of young backs who can log carries, but don't necessarily do that other half of the job well. So that's probably why they're cycling guys through.
UMass led Colorado by 11 in the second half and lost. Led Vanderbilt by 11 and lost. They're 1 point ahead of Bowling Green, the defending MAC champ, with 6:48 remaining in the half. Moore from his own end zone. Tackle made by Quayshawn Smith at around the 27 27-yard line. And from there, James Kanapke and that high-powered Falcons offense will take over.
Well, credit Smith there for a pretty nice tackle on a kickoff. The cutback lane exists on a kickoff much like it does on a defensive play. And he cut back into a hole where Smith sat in the hole. Had he not made that tackle, that thing might have gone all the way.
Empty backfield on first down for Kanapke. A sophomore from Bishop Luers High School in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Throws across the middle and has Burbrink for 8.
A little bit of a scheme change there by UMass. They go back to a 4-man line, not the 2 or with a dropping nose. They go ahead and run with a real defensive front. Now they're back to the 3.
They are a 3-4 defense. That's
yes.
their base. And off Green. And he's got the first down at the 39-yard line. Jovan Santos Knox with the stop.
Coach Babers had talked a lot about the difficulty with UMass because they do sort of a Rolodex defense. They run a lot of different stuff at you, but if you're not going on to the front, they're going to go ahead and run these draws.
And off Green again. This time he stopped after at a 1-yard pickup. Dino Babers says Green is a workhorse. We must find a way to get him more touches. He has great quickness and vision, and he has a calmness about him. Kanapke to throw. He got hit as he released the football, and it is incomplete. Broken up at the last second, intended for Roger Lewis.
Yeah, UMass had a little bit of a delayed rush, I guess you would call it. Sometimes it's referred to as a hug rush, hug blitz, I guess, by the linebacker. I believe that was Stanley Andre. He sort of comes here just a count or 2 behind the rest. You see him run a little twist there with the nose. Does a nice job at dipping by.
On defense.
And disrupting the throw just enough to make Kanapke have to make the difficult throw.
Jovan Santos Knox for the second time today is shaken up on the play and is being tended to on the field. 5:48 remaining. It's a Bowling Green team that won its 11th MAC title a year ago. 73rd year in the conference. They've gone to 11 bowl games. Been to bowl games the last 2 years. 2 years ago they lost to San Jose State in the Military Bowl. And there's a man, Dino Babers, who had great success at his previous stop at Eastern Illinois. Took them to a couple of FCS playoff appearances. Both years he was there. He was the Ohio Valley Coach of the Year. And Matt, he's one of these lifers. He has coached just about everywhere. Before becoming a head coach, immediately before, spent 4 years as the special teams and wide receivers coach under Art Briles at Baylor.
Well, it helps to see a lot of different functions. He's coached in a lot of different position groups, so you get a better sort of perspective on the entire scheme, both offensively and defensively.
Was an offensive coordinator under R.C. Slocum at Texas A&M. Empty backfield for Kanapke. Looks to throw. Pocket breaks down. He takes off and slides after he gets the first down at the UMass 49.
Well, UMass brought a little bit of pressure there. They brought a 5th man, and unfortunately what happens if you don't break down in the rush, you come through free, but the quarterback decides to pull it down. You got to break down and tackle as well. It's not all going to be sacks.
Handoff Green on first down up the middle, and he's got 10 more at the UMass 39.
Well, winning first down, again, a highlight theme in this first half. You get 9 on first down, so the world is your oyster as far as play calling from there.
Stopped just a little shy of the first down. Now they pick it up on the pass out into the flat to Ronnie Moore. Tackle made by Jackson Porter.
You really get the sense, Bob, that this game's going to come down to turnovers. Whoever can sort of strip that ball out, make the big play at the big moment. They're having no trouble making completions. It's just what happens after.
Play fake. Kanapke wants it all up the side to Burbrink. He's got it for the touchdown. Our 5th lead change of the first half. He beat Jackson Porter for the touchdown.
5 lead changes? Is that all?
That's it.
Is that all, Bob?
We still got 5 minutes left.
Maction, baby. Let's see here on the replay. Just looks like he gets behind the defensive back. We're going to take a peek here after the kick.
And Tyler Tate in to attempt the extra point. And the kick is good. No, the kick is blocked. Blocked by Robert Kitching, the 3rd. So instead of a 6-point lead, it's a 5-point lead.
We're going to see Burbrink here just simply get behind the defense. We see both the cornerback and safety sort of shaking their heads at one another after. I'm not certain if there was an error here or someone was expecting help or if he bit on a fake or what it was, but he got stacked, and not just by a yard or 2 or 3, but by 5. That usually tells you there was either a mental error or a really poor technique error early in the route because he just got simply burned down the field. Nice route there by Burbrink.
The extra point was blocked by Randall Jett, and we'll see. Time will only tell just how important that block was. Second touchdown pass of the day, 6th of the year for Kanapke, and the second touchdown catch of the season for Ryan Burbrink. And there is your scoring drive info. So when we began the telecast, I asked you, is this Bowling Green team good enough to repeat? And you said, well, all depends on whether they get better defensively or not, but certainly offensive weapons is not an issue, even though they lost their all-conference quarterback to a season-ending injury.
Yeah, Johnson was your de facto MAC player of the year. He was everyone's sort of favorite guy as an offensive player going into this season, but they lose him immediately and don't seem to miss a beat. So rolling right along, but again, I think this MAC is going to come down to who can stop somebody. UMass has got very nearly the same amount of talent as Bowling Green. It's just going to come down to who can play some defense.
On the kickoff return, Trey Dudley Giles from his 2. And he gets it out to the 35-yard line. Tackle on the play by Matt Robinson. We still have 4:53 remaining in a very long first half of football on a beautiful Saturday in Amherst, Massachusetts. The last time UMass played a football game on campus was November 19th, 2011. It was their final season at the FCS level, their final season in the CAA. Frohnapple, the quarterback, is now lined up at the bottom of your screen. Who's going to take this snap? It's Elgin Long, who's a backup slot receiver. Takes the snap and is hit by the free safety Denard Turner after about a 5-yard pickup.
Now we got a flopper on the field. Looked like he felt something going down, but realized the substitution was happening quickly, so he took a fall. That's usually a smart thing. You're usually coached and told to do that. He's shaken up. He could have probably gotten off the field, but it would have been in a time that would also potentially cost him a penalty. So you just go down like a fish. You flop around and pretend like you're hurt, more so than you really are.
Denard Turner, the man who made the tackle, is the man who was helped off the field, and now Frohnapple in at his familiar spot to take the snap himself. Handoff to Abroqua, and he is going to lose a couple of yards. Brian Baird made the stop.
That's a very poor run by Abroqua there. You have to understand sort of down and distance in situation. You've gotten it to second and about 2 to 3. You don't want to make the backwards cut because a negative play there takes it out of management, or at least makes it a little bit worse at 3rd and 5. You need a fall forward cut. At that point, you really want to make one decisive get downhill. It's not a down and distance to sort of take away what you've already gained on first down.
3rd and 5. One wide receiver to each side, 2 tight ends. One of them, Mills, is in motion. Frohnapple, look out, he is hit by Sanford. The 2nd sack of the day for Sanford, the 3rd sack for Bowling Green.
Here's the thing, though, Bob. He has to understand that there's an overload rush. You know there's an extra man over here, and you actually have Rodney Mills running what's called an angle route. So the back is motioned across the formation. He's the extra guy. He's the hot. You got to get the ball out of your hands. You know you're outnumbered. You have an outlet route developed into the pattern. Go ahead and use it. Frohnapple doesn't see it. He's looking to the other side of the formation, not seeing and feeling that sort of rusher coming. I think that's an error on the quarterback. The play design had something in it to help save the day, but you didn't use it.
Brian McDonald into punt. He drives Burbrink back to his own 30, and Burbrink is hit by the first man down the field, Kari Bailey-Smith. Terrific coverage.
That's an excellent play by Bailey-Smith. Playing the gunner position, getting down the field, catching a guy out in the open field without having to sort of break stride, wrapping him, actually getting a hand on the ball. He's very fortunate there to rip that thing out. That's an awesome play and saves a ton of field position.
47-yard punt. -2 on the return. So let's see what James Kanapke and the Falcons can do with 2:50 remaining. First half, they have 2 timeouts left. There have been 6 lead changes in this football game. Kanapke on first down threw it behind Burbrink. Dino Babers says of his quarterback, James Kanapke, he has a very strong arm. He's trying to get caught up with the rest of the offense, and his biggest need right now is to improve his decision making. Bubble screen, Burbrink again. Not much of a gain. Vondell Langston made the stop. 3rd down and 8. Both teams have had probably the biggest problem all year has been the same for both teams, and that's their 3rd down defense. Getting the defense off the field. Kanapke to throw. Looks across the middle for Moore, and he's got him for the first down at midfield. Boy, that was perfectly thrown. Clock stops while they advance the chains. 2:11 remaining. Ball at the UMass 48. Kanapke hands off to Green. Picks up 3 tough yards to the 45.
It's really unusual to see a completed pass, or not unusual, but just not right, not good fundamental football. When you get down to this sort of time as an issue, you really want to defend from the inside out, force outside throws. When Kanapke's able to step up and complete something in between the hashes, somebody's made a leverage error.
Kanapke to throw, good protection, fires to Green. Tackle made by Jackson Porter.
And that's more like it. You force the hard throw to the outside edge of the numbers. Kanapke's throwing what's a 5-yard route, but it actually has to travel 20 plus or whatever in the air. It's a more difficult throw. It allows the defensive back to get right on top of it. You don't want the inside easy stuff when time is an issue.
3rd down and 3. They need to get to the 38. Kanapke, good protection, has his man all alone in front of everyone, and he dropped the football. Moore had a touchdown, and he could not hang on. He had Kareem Bailey-Smith beaten badly.
I'm wondering here, the way he flashes his eyes back over our heads here in the booth, it looks like sun might be potentially an issue. I think he's looking right back into it, just blew it. I mean, he actually, as you mentioned, Bob, had Kareem Bailey-Smith beat by 5 yards. It just was running away from him, but wasn't able to locate it or sort of complete the play.
What do you think about this? 4th and 3rd at the 41, they're going for it.
Action, baby. That's risky.
You don't get it. You're giving UMass the ball in good field position.
Risky.
You punt the football, the half's probably over.
Risky
and instead he wants it all for Lewis, and it's intercepted by Randall Jett, who should have just knocked the ball down on 4th down. He cost his team about 30 yards in field position.
That's a great point, Bob. As the ball's going up, I'm thinking solo route. At this point, he's probably better to just make it an incompletion, knock that thing down. If you're Bowling Green, you're actually not that upset with this. This ostensibly works like a punt. A punt that's downed at an area where you would have really happy to have it down there. You know, Randall Jett gets a stat, makes a really nice football play, but it actually turns out net effect being an okay thing for you if you're Bowling Green.
So there's the turnover story. 2 for each team.
Turnover deep in your own territory, though. I think you'll take that. But you're right. They're very judicious with the ball. Not so much. Things been tossed
now
around
how aggressive you want to get here? 1:05 to go. 1 timeout left. Ball at your own 15. Thrown apple. Scrambles, and then throws late, and it's knocked down. Incomplete, intended for Siffrin. Good pressure by Taylor Royster.
To answer your question, Bob, probably not very aggressive. You know, I think you need to be smart here. I think they may need to make these throws to the outside, try to kill clock. But you know, to go 85 with this kind of game, you're in a tight game. I think now's the time to be smart.
Well, my point is, you can't win the game here.
No
matter what you do on this possession. But if you turn the ball over this close to the goal line, the other team gets 7 points, and all of a sudden that 5-point lead becomes a 12-point lead, you can lose the game.
Changes the face of the game, absolutely.
On the end around, no, they fake the handoff to Sharp, and instead it goes up the middle.
I actually like this idea. You loosen the defense a little bit, use some formations to spread the field, and you start to establish some run game, something that might carry over to the second half.
Timeout was called, I believe, by Bowling Green.
Bowling Green, that's your second charge. It'd be a 30-second.
So, by doing that, they preserve time. There's 42 seconds left, and they're You like the idea of calling timeout on defense prior to fourth down?
Clock, please set the clock to 51 seconds. 5-1.
Take me back a second. Did they have to stop the clock on second down? Or was it a dead ball?
Second down was incomplete pass.
Incomplete pass. Okay, so he was given the freebie. Yeah, I mean, I understand Baber's trying here to get the ball back himself. So, you know, calling the, I don't know, he has an option. And he has how many left, Bob?
He has one. He has one left.
He has one left.
Coming up at halftime, Matt and I will tell you about the changes that have been made here since the last time UMass played a football game on campus, the new Football Performance Center. We'll talk about FBS. First half highlights. We'll also have a fabulous look at a heartwarming story out of the ACC that you won't want to miss. An example of how we all love football and we consider it very important, but in the scheme of things.
Offense, number 80. 5-yard penalty, remains third down.
In the scheme of things, football sometimes isn't as important as other things, and we'll tell you what we mean coming up at halftime. Jalen Williams called for that false start. So it's 3rd and 9. What do you do if you're UMass here?
Right out the stretch. You want to make them
run it, make them use the timeout?
Make them use that timeout is my point, yeah. Make them burn it, kick the ball as far as you can, make them have to go 60 or 70.
Instead they're going to throw. If it's incomplete, the clock will stop.
Well, he needs to be smart and stay in bounds.
Either that or get a first down.
Yeah, get a first down. There you go. Even smarter.
Mark and Michelle with the catch. The clock will stop while they advance the chains. And remember, UMass really, so far this season, has not had any kind of a threat in the kicking game. The longest field goal is 34 yards. You've got to get to the 17 for that. We're going to get a penalty. This is probably an illegal substitution again.
Yeah, so you're looking at, what, 70-plus yards of field position to get to that point, Bob?
There's no foul for an illegal substitution.
Okay. And why was the flag thrown?
It's an excellent question.
They never explained that part.
They don't.
Frohnapple will throw, good pressure by Thomas. The ball is caught. They'll have to use the timeout here. Kenny with the catch, and they will stop the clock for the final time with 17 seconds left. And the ball at the 30. They have to get to the 37 to get a first down. There's really how many options here?
UMass, going to be a 30-second timeout. Can we please have 19 seconds on the game clock? 1-9.
So again, the longest field goal so far has been a 34-yard. You need to get to the 17 for that. So just to get to the 17, I'm trying to do the math in my head here. You have to get 53 yards.
53 yards now, yeah.
And that doesn't mean you're going to make it. So with 19 seconds left, what do you do here? If you play fast, you have a chance to get off 3 plays. If you get the ball out of bounds or get the first down and come up and spike it.
Correction, UMass is out of timeouts.
I'd say you take the knee and you go in and have your orange slices.
Well, why would you use your 3rd timeout if you're only going to take a knee?
Exactly. I've already taken that decision out of my hands, but risk reward here doesn't seem very good.
Frohnapple looking. The pass is caught by Sharp. He gets out of bounds. The play took a long time.
And there's your example, Bob. That thing was thrown from the far hash outside. It could have been a pick six right there on the sideline, right in front of Mark Whipple. That's not smart. That's sort of playing with fire, to say the least.
So now at this point, it's pretty much the Hail Mary. Try to do that, or maybe run a pass pattern that's with the idea of drawing a penalty, but that doesn't work in college football because it's only a 15-yard penalty.
Yeah, something deep into the outside if you like to throw fades, but just half's over.
Instead, they're going to run it. It's a Broqua. He's got the first down, which means the clock will stop until they advance the chains. Didn't get out of bounds. Clock says 2. They may run up and either snap it quickly or spike it, or option 3, Mark Whipple says, come on, let's head into the locker room.
It's an opportunity to work on the run game. Never let one go by.
Right. Well, yeah, that's exactly what it is.
This is the end of the first half.
It's instead of practicing, it's practicing under game conditions.
There you go.
It was a very entertaining, terrific first half of offensive football. We're halfway home, and Bowling Green leads UMass 26-21. Stay tuned for a look at a heartwarming story out of the ACC. Bob Picozzi and Matt Chatham back in Amherst, Massachusetts. All set for the start of the second half. Bowling Green leads UMass 26-21. It's homecoming day for the Minutemen, and Bowling Green will get the ball first. McGurk Alumni Stadium opened in 1965. Seats 17,000. They added brand new field turf this summer. Brand new press box in operation for the first time today. They had the dedication of the press box and the new performance center yesterday. It's been a weekend filled with homecoming events for the first home football game. And always have a few kinks to get out of your system, including the officials who they had the two teams lined up the wrong side.
It's always interesting in the MAC.
So Blake Lucas will kick off. Bowling Green is the defending champion in the MAC and picked number 1 in the 17 MAC East in the preseason coaches poll. UMass was picked to finish last. The Minutemen, in their third year at the FBS level, they went 1-11 and 1-11 in their first 2 years. The only win was against Miami University of Ohio last year, and they will visit Miami next week, will UMass, while Bowling Green will host Buffalo next week. This is the first of 3 games this season here at McGurk Alumni Stadium. They've already played 2 at Gillette Stadium in Foxborough. The next home game will also be at Gillette against Eastern Michigan, and the last 2 against Ball State and Buffalo will be right here. Kickoff by Lucas is taken by Moore at the goal line. And he gets it all the way out to the 31-yard line, and from there we'll get a look at James Kanapke. And Matt, in the first half, Kanapke was very impressive. 23 for 35 for 309 yards, 2 touchdowns, but 2 interceptions.
Yeah, the 2 picks are on high balls, one of which was tipped a little bit behind, but it's tough to argue with that kind of productivity. You see how dangerous it could have been without those 2 interceptions. So they're flinging it, he's slinging it, and they're making some plays.
3 receivers to the left and 2 to the right. Empty backfield on first down. Kanapke throws, and it's nearly intercepted and should have been picked off by Stanley Andre.
Yeah, it's a really great break by there by the linebacker, Andre, because you understand that it's empty backfield set, so you know the routes have to break really early, so he broke directly down on that thing right at 5 yards. Empty
backfield again, 3-man rush, pass right back across the middle to Burr Brink. Pickup of 9 on the play. Burr Brink's 10th catch for 127 yards.
Wow.
Falcons are 6 of 12 on third down. And the second effort by Fred Coppett will get the first down. Ball just across the Bowling Green 46-yard line. Faked right, then went right back there to Lewis. He picks up about 7.
It's kind of odd to see Roger Lewis with that much space between he and the defensive back. They're playing really far off and trying to prevent apparently the big play.
Only the 4th catch for Lewis, who's 1st in the MAC and 5th in the country in receptions entering the day. There's another catch by Lewis, and he has the first down in UMass territory.
And as I mentioned, Bob, if you're going to play off, I mean, that invites the bubble screen. You've already got sort of a multi-wide receiver set to the side, so you've got a blocker and tail. All Lewis has to do is just take a step back, and you've got your play set up and free yards in front of you.
Kanapke throws across the middle. Lewis went down and looks like he made the catch, or no? What are they going to say here? Signaling got it, yeah.
Nice little pump there by the quarterback to the outside, and then Lewis sits down in the hole in the zone. Wide open.
Here's the pitch to Coppett. Gets to about the 34-yard line. Stopped by Stanley Andre.
Really at a situation here, Bob, where the stops are coming from injuries. the tempo stays high unless someone gets dinged.
Vondell Langston is the injured UMass player.
The video board just fell down.
Wow. So it fell. It was elevated from that, and it looks like no one was hurt, but a lot of people are reacting to it. Langston gets up, so we had an injury. Wasn't a very successful play, very costly play for UMass. They lost the linebacker in their video board.
Flat screen fell right off the wall. Yeah, it looks like everyone's okay, but yeah, it was a loud crash here in the stadium. You look back and the replay board's on the ground. It's a little odd, but it's the MAC. We're having fun.
Well,
a lot of weird things.
As you might understand, they haven't played a game here in 3 years. It's a big crowd, new buildings, new parking and everything. There was, to put it mildly, a lot of traffic getting into the complex today.
This is true.
Took a while. Believe me. Catch by Moore. My hotel is a mile away. It only took 35 minutes to get here.
Is that all? Just 35?
Literally could have walked here faster.
All right.
3 wide receivers to the left. And that's where he looks on the swing pass to Coppett. Nice tackle by Joe Colton, but not before. Looks like they picked up the first down.
It really does look like the defensive philosophy here for UMass is to play off. We're not going to give up big plays. We're going to let them dink and dunk us and hopefully rally, tackle, and hopefully strip a ball off someone.
Did not get a first down. It's 4th and about a good 2 yards.
Good 2 yards. And they're going for it deep in this territory.
They're 3 for 6 on 4th downs this season. They have a kicker that could make it from here. Tate's already kicked the 52-yarder this year. The pass in and out of the hands of Moore, and UMass will take over. Good throw, good pattern. He just didn't catch the football.
Yeah, I agree. It's a ball that should have been caught, but Kanapke did throw it behind him a little bit, but it was a wide open route. It was a good decision to go where it went, and Moore puts it on the ground.
We will step aside. 12:19 remaining in the third quarter. We've gone nearly 3 minutes without a score. What's going on here? Well, there's the video board. It was once even with the scoreboard and actually had video on it. It is now neither. It crashed. No one was hurt. We understand a hydraulic line burst, and that is the first time I've ever said those 3 words on the air. There's a toss, and looks like Jalen Williams came up with a hamstring issue.
Yeah, sniper. You hate it when you see that happen to players. I've had it happen to myself. You're running, and all of a sudden something pops. And he gave that sort of give up on the route thing. You know something in his sort of soft tissue burst.
Is that more likely to happen on a hot, humid day like this?
It is. You got to stay hydrated. I mean, that's a huge factor. Taking some salt pills. Something to make sure you keep drinking, keep hydrated.
Frohnapple throwing, and it is caught by Shakur Naismith, his first catch of the season. 6'4", 200-pound redshirt freshman from Philadelphia.
And Naismith did some exciting things in some of their scrimmages leading up to the season, some of the preseason stuff, but we haven't seen much of him, as you mentioned. But he's another big body, just like Sharp and the other tight end. So expect them to maybe lean on this. They've got big bodies back there.
Broqua with the carry. As you mentioned, Naismith does have great size, as does Sharp, but coaches play the people who play the best in practice. And
exactly.
There are a lot of guys in front of him. That's why he hasn't had a chance to get on the field until today. In fact, we're surprised he's on the field. We asked about him this week, and Mark Whipple said, I don't think so, when we asked whether we might see him. But Williams just went out on the previous play.
Get your opportunity to come in. You got to make the most of it, and he did.
In motion is the tight end, Brandon Howard. Frohnapple rolls. He scrambles. He was being chased by Gabe Martin and just threw it away.
Yeah, and you can see the range and speed in Gabe Martin there. He was rolling. He popped through his gap and made Fronapple get rid of that in a hurry.
The ball was outside the pocket, made it to the line of scrimmage.
Martin is a 6'2", 236-pound senior from Grand Blanc, Michigan. Second-team All-MAC a year ago, despite the fact that he didn't play in the last 6 games because of an injury. He must have been very impressive.
Definitely has some sideline
in those first 8 games, huh?
Yeah, absolutely, Bob.
Of course, they played 14 because they played a conference championship game and a bowl game.
Right.
Here comes the blitz. 5 guys going after Fronapple, and it's caught by Sifrin. Austin Valdez was right in the face of Fronapple when he released that ball.
Yeah, Fronapple did a great job of staying here and taking the throw. He knew he was going to hit the hit. And you see Sifrin, he's just a big body. This is a power forward out running around in the secondary. He's a foot taller than the safeties and corners who were trying to mark him. If Fronapple can put the ball on him, those are completion there anytime you want it.
Fronapple play fake, buys him lots of time. No one open, so he just threw it away.
Interesting decision there by Fronapple. He had sort of 2 levels. The boot play worked. He got out in the open, but both guys were covered up pretty well. That looked to me like an opportunity where he could have tucked it, ran, and gotten a free 3 or 4 or 5 as opposed to going with the incompletion.
And there's an injured player on the field, and it looks to be the corner, Jude I.J. Barima. Dino Babers considers him their best cover guy in the secondary. In fact, he says of him, he's that older guy who keeps the younger guys in line. You know, when they get that deer in the headlights look, well, then he's there to translate for them. Who was that guy when you were a rookie in the NFL? Was there anyone like that?
Otis Smith was a guy, and you would know them as a New York guy. He was a Jet for many years, but Otis was definitely the guy that sort of was the calming presence back there, the guy to sort of play traffic cop and to make sure everyone was set up and not to get too high or too low when someone would get beat. Otis was a great leader.
Mm-hmm.
It's important here to note that Bowling Green got really banged up in last week's game. They had a lot of bodies go down, so depth is a bit of an issue for them. They don't dress a ton of depth this week, so when your top cornerback goes down and you start looking to second levels and UMass is putting 3 and 4 wide receiver sets on the field, somebody's going to be out there covering someone on the other side who's been productive, and you haven't had many reps in your belt. So look for Fronapple to maybe look and find out where that weak spot is.
Yeah, in fact, Dino Babers says our biggest issue this year is our health. He says we're exactly where we expected to be. We're 2-2. And if you looked at the schedule before the season, you probably figured maybe we would win 2, lose 2, but injuries is the issue. Blake Fronapple, the quarterback, to the top of your screen, and Elgin Long in to take the direct snap out of the shotgun. He hands to a Broqua for a 1-yard pickup. Now, what's the theory behind going with that package?
Well, I think in this situation, Long is they've done it once before. I don't like the idea of doing this deep in you've crossed into their territory. Stick with the offense, but I guess the thinking here is they've given them a couple reps, and if you're going to try to keep them honest with that package, you need to take it out of Long's hand at least once. So they went ahead and went with the handoff. Back to the regular offense. I think that's the right one.
Which means Fronapple looking long up for Sifrin, and that I wonder if the sun was in his eyes on that one.
Well, he quit running as well. Sometimes you always have to. Well, you're always told to run the route as if you're getting it one way or the other. But he certainly let off on that route and sort of jogged, loafed, whatever word you want to use, at the top end of the thing. So, looking back, you're absolutely right, Bob. There is sort of a light hole over in that corner, and if you are looking back, it's something you're going to have to battle with. But you can't quit on the route either.
So let's see if McDonald can pin Bowling Green in here. Line of scrimmage is the 37. So far this year, he has 5 kicks inside the 20. You want to keep this ball out of the end zone. Great hang time. Unfortunately, took a Bowling Green bounce and then is down. There is a penalty marker at the line of scrimmage.
Down at the 8-yard line, flag on the play.
So let's see what the penalty is. First half, Bowling Green was whistled for 8 penalties. Falcons have had a real issue with penalties this year, 104th in the country. They had 77 penalty yards against Western Kentucky. That's the most by any MAC team this year. We've had 5 lead changes in this game. UMass jumped in front 7-0. And then Bowling Green took the lead, then UMass, then Bowling Green, then UMass and Bowling Green again.
holding, receiving team. That penalty will be enforced half the distance from the end of the kick. First down.
So the good news, it's only a 4-yard penalty. The bad news is it's only a 4-yard penalty. It happened at the 8-yard line. So you're going to be snapping the ball at your own 4.
Well, we've seen the approach from this Bowling Green offense is to really spread you out and go wide. Are you willing to take that chance backed up against your own goal line, or do you sort of transition into a more traditional look where you put a second back in the backfield, keep someone at home, or you say, screw it, Kanapke's been good, and we're just going to keep rolling the way we do?
9 penalties for 67 yards for the Falcons. Travis Green is the lone setback. Bubble screen to Lewis. Slithers his way to the 10 for a pickup of 6.
It really just looks like they're conceding that initial catch to Lewis. I mean, they're playing him off. They're playing him at 6, 7, 8 yards off, sometimes as much as 10. If they want the bubble screen, it's there and available. It's looking like the idea is he gets nothing over the top today.
Handoff Green. He's got the first down as he spins his way to the 17.
Travis Green, the ball carrier.
Stanley Andre made the stop. Green 6th in the MAC in rushing through the first 4 games. Play fake. Looking long for Lewis. Jets with him and does a great job of knocking it away.
Yeah, Randall Jett is really one of their top. He is the top defensive back on this UMass squad. He can mark Lewis. I mean, Lewis is a freshman. Jett's got some more experience. He doesn't look like he has a difficulty running with him. It just looks like the call approach was to stay on top of every single route, let nothing get behind you. He can challenge these. He might make an interception here at some point.
He had an interception in the first half. Kanapke lots of time, and then he throws a comeback pattern to Moore. Got his feet down.
Sometimes veteran players will understand sort of the situation. Maybe Randall Jett's just sort of laying in the weeds, trying to let this happen, and he's going to take his shot when he feels like he's got that best opportunity. But now Lewis is off the field, so maybe he feels like he can be a little bit more aggressive.
Alex Huddle did a great job picking up the blitzing Stanley Andre to make that last play happen. Handoff to Green. And Green has the first down. Bad tackling, finally brought down by Jackson Porter at the 48-yard line. Looked like one of the UMass players just tried to strip the ball, Steve Casale, instead of making the tackle. And Green must have picked up another 20 yards after that play. There's an injured player on the field for UMass, and I think it is Steve Casale. Yep. Casale, who missed the last 10 games with an injury last year. He's a redshirt freshman from Farmingville, New York. So while they tend to Casale, we will step aside with 9:11 remaining, third quarter. Out of the timeout, Bowling Green ball, 1st and 10 at its own 48-yard line. In motion is Green, leaving an empty backfield. UMass showing blitz, and here they come. The pass in and out of the hands of Green.
Yep, remove the back from the backfield a little bit, going to target him out there. It was almost more of a zone blitz concept because they actually didn't overload. They're lined with 3, 1 comes in, 1 comes out, so you end up with 4. Not the extra body, but UMass going with a little bit of a confusion element there, but the back drops it. None of that really matters.
Kanapke looking long down the middle, all alone for the touchdown is Lewis. 52-yard touchdown pass, 3rd of the day for James Kanapke and 3 different receivers.
Well, on this game, the seams have been your enemy. And understand here, Lewis is at the lead, the point of a bunch formation. So the point man in a bunch has to be rerouted. He has to be jammed at the line. You let him run a free release, he's running just down your seams. The seams have killed UMass today. That's an area on the field where you have to get hit. You shouldn't be allowed to run free routes in that area of the football field. If you do, you give up 52-yard touchdown passes.
The extra point by Tate is good. Roger Lewis with his 3rd touchdown catch of the season. 3 UMass players have over 100 receiving yards today. And we still have a quarter and a half to go. Bowling Green has opened up its biggest lead of the day is 12. How did it happen, Matt?
Well, Roger Lewis, we know, is a vertical threat here, but you're going to see the defensive back. Roger's the point guy. He's the front guy of that little collection of 3. You see the defensive back just kind of soft drop with him. What you have to do is reroute the point man, because when you reroute the point man, it disrupts the routes behind it. If the guy at the front of the route combination runs straight down the field and doesn't get touched, it's an easy thing. You can't allow him to build on your safeties. It's like standing at the tail end of a 40-yard dash. You jam the point man. It's not even your responsibility to cover him. You just jam and make sure he doesn't get to the second half of the route quite as quickly. You don't jam Lewis. You're just allowing him to be Carl Lewis down the field on your safety, and that's not good team defense. 96-yard drive.
That means that Lewis, Burbrink, and Moore all have a touchdown catch and all have more than 100 receiving yards. First time Bowling Green's had 3 guys with more than 100 receiving yards in the same game since September 3rd, 2005 against Wisconsin. And on the kickoff return, Kareem Bedley-Smith is brought down by Will Watson at the UMass 20.
Yeah, great hit there by Watson. Looked like there was a hole. It closed very quickly as Watson closed on the play and provided a great shot on the return.
Now, the good news if you're UMass is you're playing against a team that played a very challenging non-conference season, but
yes,
is not very good defensively, at least statistically, entering today. Check out these numbers. Bowling Green 120th in the country in scoring defense, 125th in total defense, 124th in passing defense, 120th in rushing defense. You're down 12, but you got 8:45 to go in the third quarter. You have lots of time left to come back.
Ton of time.
Frohnapple to throw. He's looking long. All alone is Alex Kenny. One man to beat, and he'll beat him. The second one-play touchdown drive of the day for the Minutemen. The second 80-yard touchdown pass.
Well, Kenny here on what appears to be either a busted coverage or somebody just getting run away from. Kenny was a transfer from Penn State, a guy that can really run, but that they haven't seen a ton of production out of. But you see him once he gets out in the open field. Coverage busted. Kenny catches it. Kenny runs away.
Last team with the ball win. That's the way this
it appears that. We're going to keep getting these one-play drives, Bob.
The extra point by Lucas is good. Alex Kenny, only his third catch of the season. He's a graduate student, as you mentioned, a transfer from Penn State. He only had 3 catches for 25 years ago for Jim O'Brien's Nittany Lions last year.
He's a track guy. He was a track guy at Penn State, I believe a 200-meter guy. So he's got that open field speed. It was something that I know Mark Whipple had hoped he would see from Kenny earlier in the season, but they transitioned to some other players. But we're going to get a sense here of what this guy can do at sort of the top end. Some of those sprinter-type guys, it's what you see. But that's as much busted coverage as anything. Once he gets out in the open field, you see him run away. But something went wrong there on the back end for Bowling Green. Obviously, wide receivers shouldn't be running free like that. Something there between the cornerback and safety got discombobulated.
Well, they've turned the lights on here. And they might need them.
Yeah, potentially for this 3 o'clock game.
We have 8.5 minutes to go in the third quarter. And then we got another 15 minutes.
This is true.
That 80-yard completion, the longest of the season for Frohnapple. He had thrown 77-yard touchdown passes to Tajay Sharp on opening day against Boston College and again last Saturday against Penn State.
Well, credit Frohnapple for locating the bust. If something in the coverage leaks, guy's got to put a plug in it, and he did.
On the kickoff, it's Moore. Now, the bad news for UMass is you got to play defense again.
True enough. There's not a way to just go offensive series each time. That's not how it works.
You know, years ago, and I'm talking, we're probably going back 30 or more years. They used to have one of these college all-star games. Look at the total yardage there. Wow. At the end of the season.
Through 3 quarters.
And the format was something like that after a touchdown, if a team scored and they were still more than 1 score behind, they got the ball.
Wow, okay.
It's like winners out when you grow up playing basketball on the playground.
Right, exactly.
Now, we don't think that's a rule in the MAC.
I don't believe so.
So the lead is 5. We had 5 lead changes in the first half. Travis Green straight ahead picks up maybe 3. Jovan Santos Knox with the stop. And a little bit of hitting after the play.
Santos Knox got up in Green's face a little bit, test the young guy's sort of mettle, and you know what? He tested him, and he lost that test because he lost his cool and he swung at him. Draw that 15-yard penalty. It's really been sort of the Achilles heel of Bowling Green today, doing the dumb thing. You know, they can move the football. It's obviously sort of a, Santos Knox did the first thing, but he was sort of goaded him into the play a little bit. That's actually a smart play by him, and Green just not handling his own emotions. Understandably, what Santos Knox did was wrong as well, but it's usually the second guy in that gets the flag. Got to know that as a young fella.
So the officials huddling together. It was Dino Babers, who was born in Honolulu, went to the University of Hawaii. He had.
We have multiple fouls on the play. We have a dead ball, unsportsmanlike foul, defense number 35 and number 17 for a taunt. We also have a dead ball, personal foul, offense number 8. All those penalties will offset. The play counts, second down.
So here's what I don't understand, Bob.
Have the game clock read 8-17, 8-1-7.
Two versus one, yeah. Well, I actually understand the method behind it. It's smart to acknowledge that the taunt is what prompted the swing. But how does an offsetting penalty dissuade someone from doing it again? If it didn't hurt you. So what's going to keep you from wanting to commit the exact same infraction?
Tanapke to throw, looking long, and it's intercepted by Kareem Bailey-Smith. Third interception of the day for UMass, and he runs it back all the way to the Bowling Green 30.
Well, they found some life there in the seams, and I think this is really what's been the soft spot for that UMass defense, and now they're at least raising their antennas a little bit of finding that's what Bowling Green is really, the part of the field Bowling Green is really trying to work over. It's the part of the field that they've really been killing them, but Bailey Smith goes up, high points the ball, does a great job here of basically sitting in the weeds, and clearly the quarterback never even saw him. He gets in there, slides in, makes the play, gets forward, gets him now here into what's, the high red area, as they call it, the 30-yard in. Excellent opportunity for Frohnapple in this offense to close the gap, potentially even take the lead.
There's your turnover story. UMass lost 2 fumbles. Tanapke has been picked off 3 times today, his 6th interception of the season. J.T. Blyden with the carry, Charlie Walker with the stop.
Well, you wonder how much of that was sort of affected by the stoppage of play before. It's sort of ugly stuff that stops the momentum. Your quarterback starting to get in a rhythm with his guys. This is an up-tempo offense, but they keep having stoppages with all these dumb penalties.
And they've had 10 penalties. Frohnapple to throw for Sifrin. I got a kick out of Dino Babers this week after talking about the one-handed catch that Sifrin made in the Colorado game that we did.
Yeah.
He said, I'll tell you one thing. I'll bet you that young man can play basketball, and I'll bet you he can rebound. I want him as a rebounder on my team.
True enough.
Frohnapple looking for it all in the end zone, and it's caught for the touchdown. There's a penalty marker on the play. Sharp caught it. If it's pass interference defense, and it sure looks like it is, they'll turn it down. And we will have our 6th lead change of the football game.
Little pump fake there by Frohnapple with the shoulder, but again, it's actually great coverage by the defensive back, but he does at some point need to get his head turned around.
Defense number 13. Penalty decline. Result of the play. Touchdown.
The moral of the story here, the big issue is just the strength of Tajay Sharp. He's covered up, but he has the ability at 6'4" with that big body and his length to just muscle the defensive back, get in there and make the play. Frohnapple kind of holds the safety off a little bit with that little shoulder fake, little feint, and he delivers a really nice ball. 50-50 ball. Sharp goes up and gets it.
Lucas with the extra point. Blake Frohnapple has thrown 4 touchdown passes today. Tajay Sharp with his 3rd touchdown catch of the season.
Yep. 3rd step, little pump fake. Frohnapple delivers a great ball. And that's actually the part of the field where we've seen a lot of these really good balls with him. Outside, deep, and to his right. We've seen the balls of Sifrin there. We've seen the balls of William. We've seen the balls of Sharp. And sometimes a quarterback just likes certain parts of the field. He likes to throw a certain ball. Those are different routes, but it's ending at the same sort of end product. So Frohnapple's found his groove, and that ball's gone to several people. Rodney Mills has caught that ball. Williams has caught that ball. Sharp has now caught that ball. But he certainly has shown a level of comfort whenever sort of whip rolls up that kind of play for him.
Well, Dino Babers' team is not playing 19th ranked Wisconsin this week. They're playing a UMass team that in the 2+ seasons at the FBS level has gone 2-26, and the defensive woes for the Falcons continue. They have some serious problems on defense.
They got penalties, they got turnovers. You know, penalties, turnovers, and all of a sudden they're in a shortened field and they give up the one big hitter play. So really 2 series where we've seen big busts for big chunks of yardage. A secondary bust 2 touchdowns ago, and the last one where it's just a 50-50 ball. Your man versus my man, and my man's bigger and stronger and makes the play. So Sharp to me is a guy that you might want to consider rolling some coverage to, but the problem is they've shown some productivity with Sifrins as well, and he's another big body that if he gets caught one-on-one, he's been making plays himself. So neither of these teams seem able to stop one another unless they just simply get a turnover.
So when we mentioned that Bowling Green went up by 12 with 8:50 to go, UMass had plenty of time left. We weren't kidding.
No, they got time left before the third quarter.
We didn't think
much less the game.
We didn't think it would only take him a minute 25. The run back by Moore. This is coming back. We're going to get an illegal block. 15 yards. And that is going to be the 11th penalty of the day on Bowling Green.
During the return, illegal block in the back, receiving team number 27. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down.
Nate Locke called for that illegal block. So, which Kanapke will we see now? The good Kanapke or the bad one? He's been both today. He has thrown for 3 touchdowns. He's also been picked off 3 times. And that last one created a short field and a 30-yard touchdown drive.
Well, and hopefully he's had that conversation, or someone's, his coordinator, his quarterback's coach, maybe even Dino himself, to say, hey, the only way this is going to swing in the other way is when we turn the ball over. Look at those passing yard numbers. This is Tecmo Bowl situation here.
So we have had our share of offense today. Daniel Maines made the stop. He had a big game against Colorado 3 weeks ago. He had 3 tackles for loss. He is UMass's best defensive lineman against the run. He didn't start on opening day, but he quickly won that starting job. Kanapke to throw down the middle, overthrew his receiver.
A little bit of change of philosophy there by UMass. They brought a pressure. So, you know, they've got this in their head that Kanapke is having some trouble. He's making some poor mistakes. So maybe in that environment, go ahead and throw an extra body. See if he can make the decisive quick thing. When he sits back there, he's picked you apart a little bit, even though that, you know, the last interception didn't come in that environment. But you see a little bit of a philosophy switch here now. We're going to send an extra dude at him, see how he handles it.
3rd and 12. They're 8 for 15 on 3rd down. Kanapke throws to Coppett out of the backfield. Deshaun Downey made the stop at the 15, and UMass is held.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Bob, but I don't think we've seen just a straight series change in quite a while. I don't know, you know, checking my sundial, it's been a bit, but without a turnover, that's the 3 and out, and that's the kind of momentum shift that UMass needed. Now they go back and maybe can eat some clock and then put their own points up without the aiding of a turnover.
Somebody had to go wake up the punter, Joe Davidson. Said, we need you, Joe. This is only his 2nd punt of the day. And it's not a good one.
And
it's a low line drive on a hop. Oh, what a hit by Ronnie Moore. Boy, he's all over the place. More than 100 receiving yards.
Well, it's just a really poor decision on Al Kenny's part. I mean, from this situation, you know, you credit the guy for bravery and for being sort of willing to stand in there and take a hit, but sometimes you don't want to take unnecessary hits because it was timed up so well on that bounce that you could have turned it over. That's a situation where ball handling could have been an issue, and you really took an unnecessary risk. Ball security and ball possession right now is really the name of the game. It's 35-33. It's not the time to take risk with the ball in your hand.
So you don't give Davidson style points on that punt, but it's successful. 44-yard punt, no return.
Lucky.
On 1st down, Frohnapple, and absolutely nothing happening there.
That looked like an opportunity for one of those old Brett Favre sort of naked boots. Everybody on the Bowling Green defense was play side, and Frohnapple was out there rolling out his play, sort of a ghost situation. But had he held on to that, he'd have hit his head on the goalpost.
5:45 remaining, 3rd quarter, and UMass leads by 2. They trailed by 12 with 8:50 to go, and then they scored 14 points in a span of 1:25 Mark and Michelle lined up in the backfield and in motion. Frohnapple across the middle to Sifrin. Tackled at the 45, 3rd and 2.
It's getting a little chippy out there, Bob. Some pushing, some shoving. Got to be smart. These 15-yard penalties are really sort of the swing momentum plays that have happened in this game.
Empty backfield. Frohnapple, the swing pass. That might be a lateral. Doesn't matter. He's not going to be a first down. Bernard Turner made the stop.
You know, I don't know if built into that offense, Sifrin had the ability to pull that down, but they sniffed that out immediately. I mean, as soon as he popped up out of his drop, there were 3 or 4 bodies in pursuit all the way over to the back before he even had an opportunity to catch it. So if he could have bailed on that, maybe swung back to the backside, looked like there was another receiver.
They're really going to snap the ball here, 4th and 3rd at their 44?
In hurry up.
Instead of punting?
Seems bizarre.
Maybe not.
Yeah, maybe not. Yeah, they're going into a pistol.
Wow, they are going for it. Frohnapple to throw, and they got it. Tajay Sharp spins away, nearly broke it, gets it to the 42. So Mark Whipple, you will, if you look up Mark Whipple in the dictionary, you won't find the word conservative.
No, you will not. A little hitch here out here on the outside. Your best player, Sharp, you can never go wrong there. And you can see the strength after the catch. He just slips on this brand new slippery surface. But he's their go-to guy right now, clearly.
Play fake, then on the screen it goes to Sharp, and Turner was there, or Valdez was there to blow it up. Let's get back to that going for it on 4th and 3
in your own territory,
at your own
Bob.
44. Is that decision, is that a commentary on UMass's defense?
It's a commentary on both teams' defenses, I think, Bob. It's saying that we think we can convert on you if it's the last down on every snap, and it also maybe says we can't stop you either. Of course, I think it really cuts both ways.
The injured player is Gabe Martin, 2nd team All-MAC linebacker. Dino Babers told us he's intelligent, he's fast, and he makes plays all over the field. They moved him for today's game from the outside linebacker spot to the inside. Dino Babers was an assistant coach in his career in order at Purdue, Hawaii, Arizona State, Eastern Illinois, UNLV, Northern Arizona, San Diego State, Arizona, Texas A&M, Pitt, UCLA, and Baylor. And then, and this is going over 24 years, then he finally got an opportunity to become a head coach, or make that 28-year period as an assistant coach. And he's only 53 years old, by the way.
Right.
Now in his 3rd year as a head coach, 2 years at Eastern Illinois, and his 1st year at Bowling Green. 3.5 remaining. Bowling Green showing blitz. Here they come. Frohnapple across the middle, too high and in front of Bernard Davis.
One of the challenges here, and we talked with Whip about this a little bit, Coach Whipple about this a little heading into the game. In the absence of Jamal Wilson, that forces one of these other backs to become your protector. Broqua was the guy back there, and Bowling Green is bringing a pressure, bringing a 5th guy. In other words, the running back has to be a part of the protection and block someone. Frohnapple did a good job of getting rid of that in a hurry, but it's certainly a challenge for these young players that haven't seen a ton of snaps. That's half the job.
And there you go.
And there you go.
No blitz pickup there. The 4th sack of the day, and Gabe Martin gets it. So he recovers rather quickly from being shaken up 2 plays ago.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of look out blocks on this one. A lot of guys just going down and falling their way. So maybe you could say Frohnapple just toss it in the stands and live to fight another day. But, he really had no chance on that one.
And this is a Bowling Green team that's only 105th in the country in sacks, and they got 4 of them today. And let's go back, remind you, Jamal Wilson, the best running back for UMass, possibly, likely out for the year with a broken ankle. He's their best blocker in that blitz pickup situation. They really miss him.
They certainly do.
McDonald tries to pooch it, and probably pooched it a little too much. In his effort to keep it out of the end zone, he hooked it left. And the line of scrimmage is going to be the 35-yard. It's only a 15-yard punt. A net of 15. That hurts.
Don't need your calculator for that one. That's not good. Not good at all.
So it goes back to Bowling Green. We still have 2:44 remaining in what has to be one of the longest 3rd quarters I've ever experienced.
The history of time, Bob. It is. It was a long first half and an even longer 3rd quarter.
So far in this third quarter, we've had 3 touchdown passes and 1 collapsed video board. Green left side, pickup of 2. Santos Knox made the carry. Of course, it's a brand new video board, part of the
defense.
announcement. Player lost his helmet, so Santos Knox has to sit out of play. Offset I formation. Handoff Green. Breaks a couple tackles. Still pushing forward all the way to midfield. Pickup of 13. Both of these teams have firepower in their passing game, but what separates the two teams is Travis Green. UMass has no one like Travis Green in their backfield.
I don't know if he has the top end speed. We're getting to see him here on another carry. But he kind of has that upright but short guy, quick bouncing out of cuts like a Chris Johnson. He reminds me a little bit of Chris Johnson, old of Tennessee, now of New York. He has that sort of just look, the way he pops in and out of cuts and the way he keeps sort of square to the line of scrimmage on each run. Don't know if he has that breakaway speed. Chris Johnson's about as fast as they come, but this guy's clearly explosive. He's a great weapon for them to have, especially as much as they spread the ball around with their passing offense.
I think UMass only had 10 players on the field.
Oh. You don't understand how big of a play this is here by Randall Jett. If he does not tip this ball, this is a touchdown.
Wow.
If Randall Jett does not tip this ball on the second pass here, there's a receiver streaking down the field, 10 yards behind the nearest defensive back that's left on the field. That may be your play of the game right there, because that very well could have been another touchdown to swing the lead back in Bowling Green's way.
Bowling Green 8 for 16 on third down. Kanapke scrambling, being chased by Santos Knox, and he just had to throw it away. It had the effect of a coverage sack. They didn't get the sack. Holiness is down on the field. So it is 4th and 6. Line of scrimmage, UMass 46-yard line. We think they're going to punt, but you never know.
Yeah, that's a great point.
I mean, you don't. I mean, obviously down in distance, the odds of converting a 4th and 6 are much greater than a 4th and 1 or a 4th and 2.
Right.
And if you don't get it, you're giving the UMass team the ball at midfield. Too far for a field goal, even with the talents of Tyler Tate.
Be interesting to see what players on either team hasn't been a part of a stoppage of play. I mean, somebody's been down or been tended to or had a penalty virtually on every side or all sides of each of these two rosters.
What point are you trying to make, Matt?
I'm trying to think the stoppage of play when you're doing hurry-up football is very helpful. So if you're going to take a dive, take it in this kind of game. It's not good for the announcers. We end up doing 7-hour games, but you know, it's helpful whether or not it's intentional.
Davidson indeed will come on to punt. And Joe Colton sort of goes back. UMass, I think, it's like they basically have their defense on the field. Davidson does punt it, and it's a beauty, and it's downed by Bernard Turner at the 6-yard line, and from there UMass will take over with 1:05 remaining in the third quarter. Bowling Green had a 96-yard touchdown drive this quarter. Let's see if UMass can do the same. Next up for the Minutemen, they will be at Miami of Ohio next week, then at Kent State, and then home on October 18th against Eastern Michigan. That one will be at Gillette Stadium, then at Toledo, and then back here at McGurk Stadium November 12th for Ball State.
First down at 10 for the 6-yard line.
Handoff to Blyden.
J.T. Blyden, the ball carrier.
No gain. Final minute of the third quarter. And yet another injury on the play. I think it's Gabe Martin again. No, it's not Martin. Bowling Green has outrushed UMass today 154-38 and trails by 2.
Tell you what, this box score to me just looks like a lot of numbers versus a lot of numbers. It's really going to come down to something small, like a turnover or a stop deep in somebody's red zone.
Bernard Turner, 6 foot, 189-pound junior free safety from Miami, is the injured player. It has been a high-scoring game, and it's been a high-scoring third quarter so far.
Highlight deck, here we go. Another big play. We talked about how letting them run free in the seam, Lewis does here, and that just is an easy touchdown. Too easy of a touchdown given up there. Then you get much the same. The busted play, Alex Kenny running away from the coverage when something else goes wrong on the other end. Bowling Green having much the same issues as UMass had on theirs. Little pump fake there by Frohnapple, and Tajay Sharp is just too good in a one-on-one situation against the smaller defensive back. He's your 50-50 ball guy each and every time for this UMass offense.
2nd and 11 for the Minutemen as Bernard Turner is helped to the sideline. Replacing that secondary by number 9, Isaiah Gourdine. Frohnapple was pressured and just threw it away up the right side. Brian Thomas, who has 1 sack today, was in Frohnapple's face. So now it's 3rd and 11 from your own 5-yard line. The last thing in the world you want to do is turn it over. UMass did turn the ball over against Vanderbilt. They had a fumble right near their own goal line. Vanderbilt recovered in the end zone. So what are your choices play selection wise on 3rd and 11 at the 5?
Well, I want to go easier throws. So Sifrin I've liked on the inside part of the field. Maybe you work with a back on an angle route, keep something in the middle. The last thing you want is something dangerous to the outside where you get that pick 6. You got big bodies, use them in the middle of the field. Make it easier throws.
Frohnapple will throw to Sifrin underneath, and he gets to about the 10, well short of the first down, and McDonald will have to punt out of his own end zone.
It's 3-step passing. The thing you don't like about this, though, is the route. Because it's 11 yards, you didn't take enough of a drop to allow the routes to get to first down depth. So the ball was coming out before any wide receiver could potentially run 11 yards. So there has to be a catch and run element. I guess the thinking for Coach Whipple is that you can't afford to take a 5 or 7-step drop because the rush might get there. But what that means is the routes don't get there either. So you get it out, you avoid sort of the really catastrophic play, and the quarter ends.
This is the end of the third quarter.
So we'll head down the other end to punt. UMass has only won 2 games in its FBS history. Can they hang on in the final? Bob Picozzi with former Patriots and Jets linebacker Matt Chatham at McGurk Alumni Stadium in Amherst, Massachusetts, ready for the start of the fourth quarter in a real shootout. UMass trailed by 12 with 8:50 to go in the third quarter, then scored 14 points in 1:25 and leads at 35-33. Punting from his own end zone to start the fourth quarter is Brian McDonald, and it is a beauty.
Yeah, really nice ball.
Ronnie Moore at his own 49, a 6-yard return, so great field position for Bowling Green, the defending champion in the Mid-American Conference. No team in the MAC has won back-to-back titles since 2003 and 2004. And Dino Babers says his vision of this program is we want to create a foundation so we can be a consistent winner and compete for a MAC title every year, not just build on one recruiting class and then take a step or 2 back. We want to be there year after year. Handoff first down to Fred Coppett. Pushes the pile forward for 7 yards.
The theme is really not different for either of these two defenses. You've seen the series stall for one of the two sides if they can stop the run. When there's no run stop, then play action opens up, and you see these quarterbacks just pick one another's defense apart.
Coppett now 10 carries for 68 yards. Gets it again. Picks up a yard, and it will be 3rd down and 2. Leo Krasanovic with the stop. UMass has stopped Bowling Green on 9 of their 17 third down attempts today. Coppett, good second effort gets the first down to the 34. These two teams have met twice previously. Last year at Bowling Green, Falcons won at 28-7. 2 years ago at UMass at Gillette Stadium, Falcons won at 24-0. Mark Whipple said, "We haven't had any success against this team, but I told our kids, if you want to be a champion, you have to beat the champion."
Absolutely. Looking forward to this opportunity. I mean, really, both of these programs have been eyeballing this as sort of the start to their quote-unquote new season. So get an opportunity to play the best in this particular conference and really find out where they stand.
Kanapke throws for Lewis, has him at around the 26. Tackle by Jackson Porter.
Now, Lewis got up limping here a little bit, so keep an eye on number 1 here at the bottom of your screen.
Handoff Green, look out, goodbye. And just like that, I'm losing track here, Matt. 7 lead changes?
Something like that, Bob. I don't know.
The 7th lead change of the game.
Unbelievable. This thing goes right up the gut. You know, maybe UMass has run a little bit of a twist inside. This is what happens when you run a pressure and you get caught. You get caught out of your gap. Green hits it, boom, done. There's nothing left in the secondary to make the play. You commit more people on the line, one is left free, and there's really nothing after that. And it's just a sprinter's game right down the field for Green.
Tim McAuliffe, the center from Lamont, Illinois, threw a block. In to attempt the extra point is Tyler Tate. And it's good. It was a 45-yard drive. It took 6 plays and only a minute 56. And it ends with a touchdown run by Travis Green, his second of the day. Well, Bowling Green has taken the lead, but as we look at Roger Lewis, he has spent this entire commercial break trying to stretch what looks to be that left hamstring out.
Oddly enough, right before Green had that nice touchdown run to sort of cap that drive, Lewis was motioning to the sideline that he had a hamstring problem. They motioned back to him to stay on the field. Probably prompted the run call, which ends up in the touchdown, but he's clearly dealing with something.
The short kick is taken by the up man, Andrew Libby. And he'll run it out to the 25-yard line. Bowling Green has 619 yards in offense today. The most that UMass has ever allowed is 649 against New Hampshire in 1988.
Yeah, with 13 minutes to go, you have to think that thing is in danger.
New Hampshire, a team that went all the way to the FCS semifinals last year before losing to the eventual champion, North Dakota State.
The Bison. Those are from my days, Bob, back in the old NCC.
Well, you know who the...
There's no foul for O'Neilly. The substitution. The play had not been blown ready.
I was going to say, you know who the former offensive coordinator in New Hampshire is, right? Head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles, Chip Kelly.
No, okay, yeah. No, Ferentz used to be head coach at
Maine.
From Maine, yeah, exactly.
Yep. Frohnapple throws the ball and over the head of Markin Michel. Brian Baird with the pressure. He was about to split Frohnapple in half.
Apple press.
Yeah, before becoming the head coach at Oregon and having great success there, Chip Kelly was Sean McDonald's offensive coordinator at New Hampshire. New Hampshire's always had that high-powered passing game. On the screen, it's Blyden. And with that completion, Blake Frohnapple has just broken the UMass single-game record for passing yards. The old record was 450 yards by Kyle Havens on October 23rd, 2010, and Frohnapple adds to it with the completion to Tajay Sharp. Ronaldo's got 4 touchdown passes today.
We're really getting to see sort of the class of this MAC. We're getting to watch Tajay Sharp opposite Lewis. These guys are both just tearing up the secondaries, and you kind of expect that'll happen throughout this MAC season.
Handoff. Blyden tried to change directions and fell down. Gabe Martin with terrific penetration. And Taylor Royster, a 5'10", 255-pound junior from Lima, Ohio, is the injured player on the field. That's not very tall for a defensive lineman, is it?
No, not at all. But he has leverage. Leverage is good.
So on a hot, we're gonna step aside as they take care of Royster. I'm going to ask my buddy how the heat and humidity is going to affect these defenses down the stretch when we come back. Following the injury timeout, 2nd and 13 UMass at its own 37, trailing by 5. 11:50 remaining in this high-scoring affair. Blyden in motion. Frohnapple fakes and then threw it away. He had Kendall Montgomery in his face as we. This is what Frohnapple has done today.
For intentional grounding, there was a receiver in the area.
But Larry Smith, the referee's had a lot of airtime today.
He really has. He has.
UMass 6 for 14 on 3rd downs. Frohnapple scrambling, looking, and throws it away. Or was it picked off? It was. He didn't throw it away. Maybe he should have.
The ruling on the field is an interception. 1st down, Bowling Green.
First interception by Frohnapple today. He was intercepted by Nick Johnson, freshman from Canton, Ohio, his 2nd pick of the year.
Yeah, it's a great play by that young man and an absolutely atrocious decision by Frohnapple, who's really had a clean record throughout this day. That's just a ball that you need to throw away. I mean, you've got the route undercut. You got Sharp on an extended play. Go ahead and throw it away to live another day. Turnovers really are going to end up being the difference in this game. Who has the last one? Maybe you're losing.
And they're not going to take another look at this. Handoff Green. Now, before we went to break, I teased a question for you. It is hot, it is humid, and these two defenses have been on the field all day. UMass more so because Bowling Green has that hurry-up offense. How much would all that add up to a fatigue factor if you're UMass defensively?
It's huge. Days after games like this are absolutely miserable. You're going to be completely drained. You're out there a lot. You're sweating. You're hot. Completely dehydrated. Guys will drink all sorts of weird stuff during games. Pickle juice, anything that's like sort of salted.
Juice.
Yeah, anything that has a high sodium content. It kind of keep you drinking, keep you hydrated.
I think I'd rather be hot.
You'd rather be hot? not a pickle juice guy?
Pickle juice.
Yeah, I'm not one of those guys, but they're looking for tricks. I mean, now Gatorade has some supplements, some Powerade and things like that where you can put different things in them to keep your work the same. But you got to find tricks because your body's just simply going to lose a lot of fluids. You got to figure out a way to keep some of them in there.
3rd and 3. Looking deep up the side for Lewis, and it's batted away by Randall Jett. Penalty marker on the play. Far side at the 28-yard line. That was, and it's going to be pass interference against UMass.
Now, Jett, to me, made it look like a nice play here. That's just hand fighting, the push-up.
Defense number 4.
I don't know.
15-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic 1st down.
Don't agree with that call for this reason. There was hand fighting. There was pushing off by both guys. So you really are just sort of, picking out of the hat which one of the ones you want to choose. If it's dual, I think you let it go either way. Interesting, though, Lewis, who just now jogs off the field, was grabbing his groin at the end of that play. So let's keep an eye on that. He seems to have a soft tissue thing that's bothering him.
Handoff Green. Great burst up the middle. Picks up another 6. Stanley Andre with the tackle. That was his 17th tackle, and that is a new career high for the senior from Dorchester, Mass., who's making his 29th straight start. 10 minutes remaining. Kanapke looks right, throws, and completes the pass. Catch is made by Hervé Kobe, junior from Delray Beach. Penalty marker, a false start, and the penalties against Bowling Green continue. 11th penalty for the Falcons.
False start, offense, number 68. 5-yard penalty, remains second down.
What do you think about having so many false starts in Game 5 of the season?
It's bad ball. I mean, you're on the road. The environment here is pretty hot, but it's not that loud here right now, so there's no real excuse for why you would be false starting at this juncture.
Kanapke faked right, lots of time, looks for it all down the middle, and it's almost intercepted by Joe Colton.
Yeah, Joe Colton had an excellent opportunity there. I'd actually call it a missed opportunity to steal one because he read this perfectly. He read the eyes of the quarterback, and he jumps right on this route. He's there. He's got to make that play. Got to make that play. That could be a game-changing play. I mean, it's a nice play. It's a nice B play, but it should have been an A plus that could have been a game-changing for this UMass defense.
In motion, Moore. He'll get the ball on the end around. Turns the corner, breaks a tackle, and will score. A broken tackle for UMass. Jackson Porter failed to make the tackle, and on the end around, Ronnie Moore scores his second touchdown of the day. One in the air and one on the ground.
This looks like fatigue to me. Ronnie Moore does a nice job of stretching this, but you see the pursuit there, just kind of not get there, and really sort of a half blank effort there by Porter. You got to stop, make the play, maybe even just push him out of bounds, but you can't give up a sort of weak attempt tackle like that. That's a critical play in this game. That could really be the swing here that make this thing go the other way. Now the lead's 2 scores, and UMass's offense has to get out there and not make another mistake.
54-yard drive, 6 plays, only took a minute 57, and it ends with a 22-yard touchdown run by Ronnie Moore, his first touchdown run of the season.
You got to get more done here on the edge, if that means edge in the secondary, edge at the outside linebacker position, but this thing can't be strung out that wide and get jogged in that easily. Eventually, after you've gone laterally that much, there should be pursuit that gets there. Maybe the pursuit's just a little tired. These drives have extended on quite a while, and it's a little bit warm out there, so maybe that's your excuse, but that appeared that the UMass defense is starting to wear down a little bit of sloppiness there that we hadn't seen earlier in the game.
So for the second time in the game, the second time this half, Bowling Green has extended the lead to 12. The last time they did it was with 8:50 remaining in the third quarter, and it took UMass all of 85 seconds to get the lead back. They got an 80-yard touchdown pass on the first play of a possession. They intercepted a pass and then had a 30-yard short field 3-play drive to regain the lead. Well, now they're down by 12. And we have 9:38 remaining, which frankly is the way this game is going, especially there is a lot of time left.
Oh, it's a lifetime, Bob. I mean, each team probably still has 3 more possessions based on the clock.
We could have 5 or 6 more lead changes.
Absolutely.
The kick to Kenny, and he's going to try to run it out from 3 yards deep. Now he spent too much time running east to west. Only gets it back to about the 17-yard line.
I'd also say he needs to do a better job of setting up the return. When you're told often as a returner to go vertically to set the coverage and then make your cut. He ran at the cut initially, which allowed everyone to flow over the top. So got a little aggressive there, and then you're going to go left and right, east to west, as you mentioned, Bob, and by then it's just simply too late.
There's your rushing yard total. That's been a huge problem for UMass this year.
Well, both stopping it and getting it. I mean, obviously they haven't put much up on the board themselves, Bob.
On the rush, tremendous pressure played by Brian Thomas, who knocked Frohnapple down. Second down and 10. Frohnapple, here comes the blitz again across the middle, and it's knocked out of the hands of the receiver, Blyden. Tremendous hit, Blyden.
So here's the thing. I've always had an issue with this quote-unquote targeting or defenseless receiver. I mean, obviously it's helmet to helmet. The contact's there. That's sort of dictionary definition. I'm glad a flag wasn't thrown. I mean, you have to be able to make a play on the ball when the ball was high. Their helmet's clicked and he's quote-unquote defenseless. There's really no rationale in my view why that wouldn't draw a flag based under the dumb rule.
And Sifrin in and out of his hands. He got popped on the play. So it's 4th down, and UMass will have to punt the football away.
It really just seems to me that what draws the flag is being injured. That's how you make sure that you draw the flag, because they're always defenseless and helmets almost always click. So here's a situation where, yeah, well, he did do a job of a shoulder tackle when he get a hand on the ball there, or a shoulder pad on the ball. But in the play prior, I mean, maybe if you just simply stay on the ground, which is unfortunate that the game's come to that. But that was textbook, quote-unquote, helmet-to-helmet defenseless, all that stuff.
So Bowling Green should get the ball in good field position. McDonald with the punt. Fair catch called for, and is made by Burbrink at his own 49-yard line. And with 9:06 to go, Bowling Green with a 12-point lead gets the ball back. Now UMass defense absolutely has to make a stop.
Absolutely.
We showed you the rushing yardage disparity in this game, how UMass has really been ineffective running the ball and totally ineffective at stopping the run.
Yep.
Well, on opening day, Matt, you and I were at Gillette Stadium that day. They got outrushed by Boston College 338 to 55. Of course, UMass might take some solace in that same Boston College team did essentially the same thing to USC.
Yeah, maybe even more. They were over 430 yards or something like that.
So something like 20, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
The carry by Green. So now if you're Bowling Green, do you vary from the script? Do you milk the play clock a little bit? Do you run the ball more often to work the clock up 12?
It's a 2 big score game, so yeah, I think clock becomes an issue. It hadn't been to this point, but yeah, you're smart to pull the ball down there if you're the quarterback. Knappe knows what he's doing. It's not the time to risk a ball outside the hashes or numbers. If you have a decision, keep it inside there, allow this thing to run finally, because you know the other team's got to have 2 possessions. The last thing you don't do is give a free one based on a turnover yourself.
3rd and 3 at the 44. High snap, handoff Green, terrific penetration. Shaquille Holiness, the transfer from UConn, made the stop. And it will be 4th down, and they'll have to bring on Davidson to punt it.
Well, you teed it there, Bob, and that was really the kind of defensive series this UMass defense needed. Maybe one of the first we've seen in quite a while, where they get that 3-and-out stop, and it's at midfield in your own territory. Swing momentum play for them.
Davidson in to punt from his own 37-yard line. Beautiful kick. Fair catch made by Bernard Davis at the 17-yard line, and it will go back to the Minutemen. So often you look at when a quarterback has a huge passing yardage game, a lot of times they happen in losses because teams are behind and they're forced to throw the ball. Now you add to that the fact that UMass has just been ineffective running the football, and of course they have to throw.
We've seen Frohnapple out here sort of grimacing a little bit during the last series, and obviously he's made some plays with his feet today where he's opened up pockets and been able to keep plays alive. May not have that attribute right now because looks like he's limping around a little bit.
Back to pass, lots of time, throws Sharp all alone at the 40. And he's knocked out of bounds at the 42-yard line. 51-yard gain.
Somebody in this game, either at the receiver position or at the quarterback position, is leading college football in sort of production today. Either Frohnapple with another excellent throw, that 7-cut, this time to the left side of the field, not right, but that's a ball he's clearly shown he feels very comfortable delivering.
Make that a 39-yard gain. Nesmith lined up on the right, now motions to the left. Davis at the bottom of your screen. On the blitz, Frohnapple off the back foot, throws too far in front of Smith, who had his man beat.
Well, you made the point, Bob. I think that was smart. Frohnapple was on his back foot, and you saw sort of some poor mechanics there. He had an opportunity to potentially plant that step into it, deliver that throw. Maybe he's a little more accurate with it, but his base was down and off, and here I am critiquing a guy with 4 touchdowns and 504-yard passing, but that was one of the negatives.
Well, the biggest negative was that interception, which, as it turned out, resulted in a touchdown. Big hit applied by Greg Martin.
Yeah, that was an excellent stick.
Intended receiver J.T. Blyden. And a penalty marker after the play. Penalty marker was thrown a good, what, 6-7 seconds after the play ended?
Yeah, and what this tells you is the penalty is for getting someone hurt. Not because the hit was illegal. The hit was absolutely legal. But it looks like you...
Unsportsmanlike number 43 with the taunt.
Okay.
15 yards from the
So the penalty was the taunt. Okay. Taunt is the correct call, as long as they don't make targeting. That was a perfect football hit. It was a great hit. Blyden's up and healthy, and that's good to see. He's jogging off the field, and he'll be okay. But, you know, perfect football play there. You know, helmet's going to hit the guy. It's part of it. Your helmet's the first thing on your body. You lean forward, it's going to happen. But it's hat and helmet. Hat and shoulder pad. Delivered right in his back. Separates the man from the ball. That's perfect.
Brian Thomas was called for the taunt. And that man's team has committed 12 penalties for 97 yards.
And how critical was that? Instead of getting the stop, you give up the yards and move into the high red yourself.
Frohnapple, Bowling Green blitzing on virtually every down. Sifrin could not hang on to the football. The coverage on that play, Charlie Walker is listed as a defensive end. And we saw him back at his own 5-yard lines guarding a tight end.
Right. Well, Sifrin, I don't know if we call him a tight end. He's running routes on every single play. Yeah, I guess he is tight to the formation, but you mentioned it. He's been running down the field, making plays all day long, but didn't come up with that one.
Is that Walker more of a hybrid outside linebacker?
Yeah, I don't even know what we call him these days. They have funny names for him, monsters and rovers and things.
Pass is complete to Nesmith for the first down at around the 16. Make it the 17. So UMass moving the ball down quickly. Frohnapple to throw. Now will take off, and he is sacked on the play. The 5th sack of the day. This one was by Jaleel Nasheed Crowley, a sophomore from Cincinnati.
Yeah, and the field goal doesn't do you a ton of good here. So him taking the sack, you know, Blake Frohnapple not getting rid of the ball and just throwing it away. So maybe a little bit of escapability affected with whatever it is bothering him. It wasn't able to get out. Took a negative play. Can't have that.
Frohnapple looking for Sharp, and it's deflected at the last moment, preventing the touchdown. Big play made by Darrell Hunter, the junior from West Palm Beach, Florida.
Well, Sharp gets up slowly here as well. Not sure if this was the correct read for Frohnapple because he's got a sinking corner. I'm not sure. We didn't get a full picture there, but usually that's cover two where you have the safety over the top of the corners meant to sink with plays provided he's not threatened underneath. So sinking, able to sort of get in that passing lane. Maybe Frohnapple doesn't see him when the ball had released from his hand.
Down 12, certainly 4 down territory with 6:07 to go. So they have 2 downs to get 13 yards. Out of the eye. Frohnapple. Scrambling, looking, throwing in the end zone. Intended for Mills, who collided with Gourdine and was knocked down. Darrell Hunter was blitzing from the corner and put pressure on Frohnapple.
Well, Frohnapple had an option. Again, I'm critiquing a guy with 500 yards passing, but he had an option out on the left flat that was immediately available to him, wide open, may have even gone for a touchdown, but he was locked onto something in the middle of the field before he decided to escape that pocket. But he had a real readily available route here to the left flat, and he didn't take it.
So here we go, 4th and 13. If UMass doesn't convert, it's going to be very difficult to win this football game. They need to get to the 7. In motion is Sharp. Flag before the ball was snapped.
Well, and that motion provides Frohnapple with the information that he knows he's got zone because they put Tajay Sharp in motion. Nobody rolls with them. That makes you know that they're not matching up.
Delay a game. Offense. That'll be a 5-yard penalty. Remains 4th down.
That's a killer.
It is.
Especially those penalties that are avoidable. So now a 4th and 13 becomes a 4th and 18. Bowling Green has blitzed so often on this drive. They have only 3 down linemen here.
Yeah, you see almost a fence look, Bob. There's all these defense. There's nobody within 10 yards but the front.
So you got 5 guys to keep 3 out.
It's like jump ball personnel.
Frohnapple looking for Sharp. He's double covered, and the ball is thrown out of bounds, and it will go back to Bowling Green with 5:49 to go. Pressure applied by Gus Schwederman.
Yeah, the defense is basically put in a situation like it would be jump ball at the end of a half or end of a game. So they just packed it in and said, hey, threaten you to throw it all the way to the end zone.
UMass still looking for that elusive first win, in big trouble now. Now it's time for the Capital One Cup Impact Performance of the Week.
Sort of difficult to bicker with a school record like this. Blake Fronapple, 30 for 52, 515 yards, 4 touchdowns against only 1 interception. He's the impact performer of the week, but let's be honest, he's kicking himself a little bit about that 1 pick. He's beating himself up in the midst of having a record-setting performance, maybe one of the most productive guys today in college football, but has that 1 throw that I'm sure he'd have back if he could.
All right, I asked you this question before. I'll ask you again. Up 12, 5:49 to go. Now, do you work the play clock, and now do you run the ball, both which run contrary to your normal offensive blueprint?
Yeah, well, fortunately, Bowling Green has had some success putting the ball on the ground. You know, I think they still say multiple. They put it in his gut every once in a while, pull it out and do play action from time to time. But they've had enough success with both that I don't think they have to feel like they have to, you know, sacrifice something by putting it on the ground. They've had some pretty good run success anyhow.
That last play, the 100th snap of the game for Bowling Green.
Woo, ice tub tomorrow, baby.
Well, they are most definitely working the play clock. 5, 4. They just beat the play clock. Handoff Coppett up the middle to the 30. UMass has all 3 of its timeouts left, and they're going to use one right now. So it's a UMass team that is starving for a victory. They have lots of obstacles, being a FBS program still in its infancy. All teams that make the jump from FCS to FBS have that problem. All this, you know, you start out, you have 65 guys on scholarship at the FCS level. You can't just say, okay, fellas, thanks, go away, and welcome in 83 FBS level scholarship. It doesn't work that way. You can only bring in 25 players a year, so it's a growing process. Then you add to the fact that you had to play all of your home games for the first 2 seasons and the first 2 games of this year, 90 miles from campus.
Sure.
It's tough to get to, and you're less inclined to go see your school play when your team is losing, and they're coming off 1-12 and 1-12 seasons. So this year, this is game 5. They could not hang on to an 11-point lead against Colorado, an 11-point lead against Vanderbilt, and they had a 12-point lead this afternoon, and it looks like they're going to lose this one too. Well, now they throw the football, which stops the clock. It's an incomplete pass, and that's a little puzzling.
Yeah, that's not wise. Not wise at all. You're saving UMass that timeout. Now we get your change of possession.
So UMass needs to score, get the ball back, and score again. Now, they've scored twice today on 1-play drives, 60 yards and 80 yards.
Dudley Giles is one of the more dangerous punt returners here in this league, so back with the ability to sort of make a play.
Fair catch called for by Dudley Giles at his own 33-yard line. Or make that Alex Kenny.
That Alex Kenny, excuse me.
And so from there, UMass will take over. This is a UMass team that wasn't very successful toward the end of its run as an FCS program. They had great success earlier. They won a national championship in 1998 under Mark Whipple. They went to the FCS championship game in 2006 under Don Brown. They won more conference championships in the history of what we now know as the CAA, which started out as the Yankee Conference and in between became the Atlantic 10. But in their last year as an FCS team 3 years ago, they only went 5-6. So it's even more difficult to make that jump from FCS to FBS when
there's no foul for intentional grounding. We had a receiver in the area.
More difficult to make that jump when you're only a 5-win team at the FCS level.
Yeah, true enough.
And this is what the road ahead is like. Now, it does get easier. Miami's the only team that UMass beat last year. That is a very winnable game next week. Across the middle, Davis has the first down at the 45. Where's your schedule? Nothing but MAC down the stretch. Eastern Michigan game will be at Gillette Stadium, Ball State, and Buffalo games right here. Frohnapple looking, scrambling, throws on the run, and it's almost intercepted by Gabe Martin.
He looks a little less. Frohnapple looks a little less apt to run. He's floating a little bit, but that's a ball we saw him pull down early in the game. Now maybe he just feels like he's got to chuck it because they're at a part of the game where they need bigger pieces of yardage. But he had a lot of clean green grass, or rubber grass, I guess, in front of him, and he decided not to take it. So maybe that, whatever it is, a groin, a hammy, a foot, whatever it is, bothering him a little bit. But he's just staying back and slinging at this point.
Three-man rush. Frohnapple throws across the middle, and he has Siffrin for the first down at the 38. Siffrin gives them so much more of a threat at that tight end spot than they had before he became eligible.
Well, it also means that your end of the line guy's not a blocker. They basically turned that position into a receiving one, which is fine, but I think it's part of that is Denton and some of the guys that could run block aren't on the field anymore.
Sharp with the catch. Good tackle by Hunter. We'll keep that clock going at 35. 12th catch of the day for Tajay Sharp, and that is a new career high for the junior from Piscataway, New Jersey. Right down the road from Rutgers. Frohnapple steps forward, throws down the middle, and he has Rodney Mills at the 5-yard line with 3:30 to go.
The ever-present dangerous pass-catching fullback, Larry Centers. Rodney Mills doing a great job today. That's an extra element that Whip didn't know he had going into the season, but you've got a guy who can make plays that isn't a tight end, isn't a wide receiver, and isn't even your running back.
UMass needs to score very quickly here. Frohnapple throws, and they score.
Quick enough, Bob.
Tajay Sharp for the touchdown. Penalty marker on the play. We're going to get a roughing the passer on Greg Martin, so they'll add that to the kickoff, which makes it interesting now.
Yeah.
With you have 2 timeouts left. Presuming you make the extra point here, you will be down 5. Do you onside kick?
Well, I think we learned that they will. They don't trust their defense, so I think they probably do, because we saw that earlier when they went for in their own territory at the 47 or whatever, and they went for it on 4th down.
After the play, personal foul, defense number 88, roughing the passer. That penalty will be enforced on the kickoff.
Penalty, they said it was on Kendall Montgomery. We think it was on Greg Martin.
I guess my thinking is Mark Whipple probably doesn't put the sort of the game in the balance based upon, can my defense get a stop if I kick it deep? That seems a lot to risk. Maybe go ahead and do the other play and presume they can't. Try to get the trick.
Well,
the onside kick.
Here's another look at the 5th touchdown pass of the day for Frohnapple.
Just a really quick slant here. Sharp sticks her out really high at the top, gets low, gets in the cocoon there, makes a play. Great ball by Frohnapple, drives it in low where only Tajay Sharp can catch it. Sharp goes down, gets the ball, makes a play. That's the 5th touchdown pass now for Blake Frohnapple, having a heck of a day.
And the 2nd catch for Sharp. Now here's another reason why you onside kick. Because of that roughing the passer penalty, you're kicking off from 15 yards close to the other goal line, so the risk part of the risk reward is less risky if you don't recover.
So you know what you can do? You don't even have to do the bounce kick necessarily. You can do the pop kick where they kind of float it a little bit at about 35 yards. So in the event that you don't get it, you can't recover, you kind of sit back as a kickoff team and you look at the formation that Bowling Green gives you, much like a defensive formation. You try to find out where the hole is, provided you have that kind of faith in Lucas. I don't know if he's that kind of kicker, but can he place it somewhere where you guys might be able to sort of recover the ball?
There's your scoring drive. That catch by Sharp is 13th of the day, extending its career high, 179 receiving yards. So you see the back man on the kickoff return team. Looks like it's Fred Coppin, and he's only standing at his 20. Bowling Green has 5 guys at the 40, 5 guys at the 32. Lucas is lined up, and here comes the bounce, and it's caught cleanly by Brian Sutton. So it will be first down at the 43, and UMass can stop the clock twice and look for them to do that the first 2 opportunities they can.
Yeah, that was just too easy. Blake didn't get on top of that ball, didn't get the high bouncing kick. It's just like a slow grounder to short. Going to make that play piece of cake.
The game clock to 3:21. 3-2-1.
Here's another look.
Really didn't get much bounce out of it. It's a real easy catch for the hands team, fella. Make the play, fall on it. Could be your game. Now you have an opportunity here with sort of milk the clock a bit if you're Bowling Green, but got those 2 timeouts in your pocket as well for UMass.
Handoff Green will lose yards, and here comes timeout number 2.
There you go.
$3:15 remaining.
Timeout. Massachusetts, this is their second charge. It'll be a 30-second timeout.
Now, the lead is 5. It should be 6, but Bowling Green had an extra point attempt block.
It's a great point.
So now if you're Bowling Green, do you run it here, make them use their extra timeout, and presuming you don't get the first down and you're in a 3rd and long, then what do you do? Run it again. If you don't get it, then the tick, 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 tick.
Yeah, I'm assuming it's 3 minutes is still a lot of time. I'm assuming you got to go back in your normal offensive set. And if this is a pass play, but that can be caught in bounds and not kill the clock, maybe a safer pass, you really do need to advance here at least 5, 6, 7 yards so that you're not stuck in a 3rd and 10 on the next down. And it looks like what they're doing. They're stuck in the gun here, so you're probably not going to get the direct run.
But if it's incomplete,
yeah, that's why
you're giving UMass an extra timeout.
Sure enough, that's why you really want to do a safe pass. So maybe it's a bubble screen, or maybe it's a quick wide to the running back, or
all the passes today have been safe.
Everything is safe. That's probably their thought process as well.
Here's the blitz, and instead on the option, Kanapke will keep it. He goes down to the 38 timeout. No, they haven't used the timeout yet. Now they get it with 3:07 remaining.
Massachusetts, this is their 3rd and final. Will be a 30-second.
What time did this game start, Matt? Started at
3 o'clock. Wow.
3:05.
Didn't know you were doing a night game today, did you, Bob?
It's 10:07.
We got a moon? Is there a moon out there? There's a moon.
Well, we showed you the sun. Now we're showing you the moon. So now here are your options. 3rd and 13. Obviously, your chance of converting the first down are much greater if you throw it.
Right.
But the risk, you get picked off, you can get a sack, you can get a penalty. If you run it and don't get it, then you're able to kill probably a good 40 seconds of clock, but then you're giving the ball back.
Exactly.
So what do you do?
Well, as defense, you need to make sure you're defending inside out here. Force the toughest possible throw.
They're not running it. Bubble screen. And the stop will be made at the 44. Game clock 2:55. Play clock starts finally. And the ball will have to be snapped somewhere in the vicinity of 2:15 remaining in the game.
Well, this qualifies as a safe throw, and that it's an inside throw. It's going to keep the clock running, but UMass does a great job of rallying. I mean, that's just simply a lot of hats on the ball, getting them down quickly, making sure this thing stays alive with an opportunity to get a possession of your own. But, again, we have another offensive lineman down, another player on the field.
But this one isn't intentional.
This one's not intentional, I don't believe.
The last thing Bowling Green wants to do is stop the clock.
Yeah, exactly.
It is the center, Tim McAuliffe, redshirt freshman from Lamont, Illinois. So now Davidson will punt. Line of scrimmage is the 44.
Please set the game clock to 2:49. 2:49.
Get a replay here of the injury. Oh, you get rolled up on your back.
Thank you.
There's 71 there on the left side of your screen. Those are the worst situations when you just can't anticipate it. You can only control what's going on in front of you.
Well, I would say we're going to see what Blake Frohnappel's made of, but we already know that. Because he's already passed for 5 touchdowns and over 500 yards today. So we know he's really, really good. UMass is going to get the ball back with presumably very poor field position, barring a long return. And they're going to have about 2 minutes and 10 seconds.
Yep.
Well, no, actually they're going to have more than that because that injury. Yeah. Well, now they can let the play clock run here. So the ball will be has to be snapped no later than 2:24.
Yeah.
UMass will have no timeouts left. But in college football, you can stop the clock with the first down. It is doable. There's your snap. Fair catch called for by Kenny. Looks like he's at the 13-yard line. 2:19 to go. And they need 77 yards. They're down 5, so a field goal is not in play. And we shall see if Bowling Green can stop Frohnapple. They haven't stopped him much today.
No, they haven't. And you're in a situation where you obviously got to get the score. You got to put yourself ahead. But as quickly as both of these teams have scored in past sequences, maybe they scored too quickly and there's another defensive possession. Who knows? But you really could learn to expect just about anything in a game like this.
Now, Bowling Green has had great success rushing the passer. They've sacked him 5 times. Let's see what the approach is on this possession. 4-man front for the Falcons. And they rush 4. Frohnapple scrambles, being chased, and he'll just run out of bounds. Royster put him out of bounds. Did he release the football? He threw it. Okay, yes. So it's incomplete pass.
Just kept this play alive. I understand he's rolling to his left as a right-handed guy. This means the throw's coming across his body. But, yeah, you get the little arena ball thing at the end there. Everyone flying into the wall.
Side judge.
Yeah, side judge. Hopefully he's okay. I think those ads are pretty soft.
Now it's a 3-man front for the Falcons with wide gaps, and they're going to run it. Blyden will have the first down. The 31. They stop the clock with 2:04 to advance the chains. So now they need 69 yards. With 2:04, it's very possible.
Multiple choice question on what they were going to run that play, and a draw probably wasn't one of them. So I think Bowling Green was caught off guard there, and rightfully so. That was a nice play call by Mark Whipple.
Another 3-man front. Frohnapple looks, throws across the middle. That's a clock eater. Blyden, and he fumbled the football, and that's going to be the ball game. He fumbled the football. It's recovered. By Clint Stevens.
The ruling on the field is a completed pass.
Take a peek here. We're going to find out if Blyden is indeed down when he catches this. When the ball comes out, turns, ball is stripped. Yes, his body's laying across the defender's body. That means he's not yet touched the ground. This is a clean fumble. Oh, well, we're going to have to take a look at that. It looks like his right elbow is in play. Maybe we'll get another angle here. Watch the right elbow. Ball's held in the left hand. No, ball is out. Ball had begun moving before that right elbow gets down. That's a fumble, and your ball game.
Sanford made the tackle. Martin was the second man in.
Is under further review.
And the ball was recovered by someone who really hasn't been on the field on defense at all today. Clint Stevens, 5'10", 180-pound freshman from West Palm Beach. We've seen so many players go down with injuries today. And with an extra back on the field, Stevens, deep in the depth chart, comes on the field and is in the right place, right time. So they're reviewing the play, and the result of this review is going to determine whether this football game is over.
Well, it's really great ball awareness here as well, because you can see that he's stripping as he's falling to the ground. So he's going to take him down with one hand to secure the tackle, and the other hand yanking on that ball. I think the ball was moving before that right elbow gets down. That's the crux of this situation. It's sort of bang bang, but left arm securing the ball, right elbow going to find earth, but it is moving before it was just touched by that finger.
Review, the ruling on the field stands. First down.
Well, that should do it. UMass has no timeouts left, so Bowling Green should be able to assume the victory formation, take a couple of knees, and get out of here before everyone changes their minds. Dino Babers said to us this week, he says, look, I know UMass has won 1-11 last year, 1-11 the year before. They're a wounded bear with Cubs around. Anyone who thinks this is an easy game doesn't realize who their coach is. It will be their first game on campus in a long time. This is as dangerous a road game as we will play. I'm worried sick. Now, was that partially coach speak, all coach speak, little coach speak? I mean, it
you want a percentage?
couldn't have been as dangerous as going into Wisconsin last
Yeah,
year.
you wouldn't think that, but they highly respect each other. This is MAC play. I think this is the time of year where these guys start understanding this is what really matters. This is the new season for them. So, this is a big game. This is really the measuring stick for them for this conference.
So another knee, and they will have to do it, I believe, one more time. So Frohnapple, 5 touchdown passes for over 500 yards in a losing effort. Tajay Sharp, 13 catches, 2 touchdowns, losing effort. James Kanapke had 3 touchdown passes, but also was picked off 3 times. And Roger Lewis, Ronnie Moore, and Ryan Burbrink all had more than 100 yards in receptions. And that will do it. So Bowling Green begins its defense of its 11th MAC title with a win. And UMass continues its look for that elusive first win.
They did themselves justice today, showing that they're close, but sentimental losses don't really make a coach feel good. Mark Whipple understands that he has the competitive power here. He's got some talent on that team, and his scheme has allowed him to keep games close. He just really needs that over-the-hump win. He needs to break through, and this game really came down to turnovers. The Blake Frohnapple turnover midway through the fourth quarter, the interception that led to a score, and the fumble there at the end of the game.
So Bowling Green wins it 47-42. The Falcons go to 3-2, 1-0 in the MAC. Against Buffalo next week. UMass falls to 0-5, 0-1 in the league. They'll visit Miami of Ohio next Saturday at 2:30 Eastern Time. So for Matt Chatham, I'm Bob Picozzi saying so long from McGurk Alumni Stadium in Amherst, Massachusetts, where the final score is Bowling Green 47, UMass 42. To watch this entire game on replay as well as other games on our family of ESPN network.